The main character narrates that his name is Jirei and once upon a time, he wanted to be a hero, with a shining holy sword in hand, slaughtering demons, before long, defeating the demon lord and marrying the kingdom's princess. By becoming a king and living a happy life, there was a time when he admired these sorts of tales. However, it is now a story of the past. Somewhere in this world, a cute little girl greets Jirei and says this is sudden but she would like him to join her party. Hearing that, Jirei displays a confused reaction. However, the girl is adamant and Jirei says nothing while he is holding the door he just opened. After that, he closes the door and apologizes to her and declines the offer. However, the girl hits the door multiple times and Jirei gets annoyed by that. He then opens the door a little bit and asks what it is. He says if she don't pipe down he will report her to the knights. To which the girl says she is not trying to sell anything or recruit him into any religious organization. But Jirei angrily asks what does she want. She says that she forgot to introduce herself. She is Retinoa Innocent, and her close friends call her Reti. She somehow mistakenly breaks the door and Jirei asks if she will reimburse it, since she broke it. Reti says she will surely reimburse it, and she got an even better suggestion. She says he should join her the Attack Heroes party. She will prepare a place for him to live, and cute girls will also follow. She asks ain't these some amazing benefits? Jirei realizes something and wonders if she just said attack hero, and also if she is a hero from this generation. He narrates if a holy sword chooses someone, a holy mark will appear somewhere on their body and one can become a hero. The attack hero chosen by the holy sword Gran Virgu is Retinoa Innocent. He thinks that this generation had an abundant hero harvest. The number has reached double digits, and just a while ago he heard that a new hero with black hair was chosen. He knows having black hair is unusual, so there's some sort of misunderstanding here. He finds this very annoying. He then brings something out from inside his shirt and asks why has the great hero come here to invite someone like him into her party. He apologizes and says she has got the wrong person. He shows her his badge and says he is a D-rank adventurer. But Reti denies it and says she has got the right person. She asks if he still hasn't remembered her. Reti then grabs her hair and makes it look like an ear. She asks how about now? Jirei realizes something and says he remembers now, 5 years ago, when he was excessively overhunting the great bears. To which Reti says yes, he saved her from a great bear's attack. Knowing that, Jirei gets a bit tensed about something of his back then. Reti says she has admired him since then, as she wanted to become a hero, and she still remembers his parting words. She says those words were don't cry, hold it in. Only weaklings cry. If she can't hold it in, then she can become a hero. If she becomes a hero, then she won't be weak and won't need to cry. She will be able to fulfill her dreams. So in order to become a hero himself, she is trying to laugh instead of crying when he's sad. In response, Jirei agitatedly tells her to stop. It's his dark past. He shakes Reti and tells her to quickly forget it, to which she asks why, as she thinks those are great words. When she saw him at the town, she thought it was fate. She recognized his face immediately, and even back then he had cloudy eyes. After that, Jirei says she became a hero, so she don't need to invite him into her party, and asks why him. Reti smiles and says being in a party with him has been her goal all along. More importantly, it's his answer. She asks what his answer is. Jirei boldly says he won't join. In response, Reti says nothing and closes her eyes. She then smilingly says she didn't hear him. Jirei denies it and says she did hear him, so he's definitely not joining. Reti again says she can't hear him. Jirei says he is telling her he won't join. Reti denies it and says he can join, and insists him to join her party. After a while, they are wheezing from the argument, and Jirei says he will join her party. It's only for a little while, and asks if she got it. Reti offers to make it 50 years, to which Jirei asks if she understands what a little even means. If it's until her first great achievement, then he's fine with it. Reti agrees to it. She says until the demon lord is dead and the world saved. It's nice to have him on board. Jirei confusedly asks what, and Reti looks at him cutely. He asks what's the party called that he should join. Reti replies it's the black-haired hero, as he got black hair. Jirei says he understands, and he will leave an application form at the guild. He asks if she could come another day. Reti agrees to it. After that, Reti leaves while saying she will come another day. After that, he sighs and says it's time to dip. He starts running inside the jungle and feels like it's a joke. He seriously asks himself fighting the demon lord now. He narrates in the past he really wanted to become a hero. In order to become one, he drank a lot of horrible tasting potions to increase his magic power, and kept polishing his magic and sword skills. He often found himself on an adventure that brought him close to death for the 10-odd years that he kept killing demons. After that, he waited for the holy mark to appear somewhere on his body. Once that happened, he would become a hero. He was waiting for that stage. Then his wish would be fulfilled. He would be a hero. But if he had to say, he didn't really admire heroes. A thing called becoming a king and living a happy life. That sort of lifestyle was appealing to him. Become the hero, defeat the demon lord, get crowned as king, and then enjoy a happy life. He would spend every day idly, getting attended to. When he was eating food somewhere in a tavern, he overhears someone saying the heroes got it hard. A guy says he heard it's nothing but demon subjugations every single day without proper rest. To this, another guy says it's thanks to the hero and the nights that they can enjoy this peace they have right now. He further says that speaking of the hero, he wanted to be one in the past as well, but he heard once someone becomes a king they are still busy, so nothing changes. Another guy then calls him a moron and asks as if a guy who's drinking booze and fooling around with chicks from this early in the day could become a hero. Then he starts laughing. However, Jirei becomes anxious after hearing their conversation. He wonders what about the time and effort he spent until now and what it was for. Because he made a decision then to earn just enough to live and spend his time leisurely. After that, in Universia Kingdom's central town, Hero Useville, Jirei was walking amongst a crowd. He murmurs that with so many people in this town, Reddy won't be able to find him. He looks around and asks if there aren't more people than usual though, and if there's an event or something. However, a girl who is running suddenly bumps with him. The girl then humbly apologizes to him and asks if he's alright. Jirei denies it and says he is the one who should apologize as he was careless and walked into her. After seeing her properly, Jirei thinks her white hair is unusual, but his black hair is unusual as well. The girl apologizes again and dashes off from there. After that, he looks at the ground and sees something glittering. He wonders if it's a pendant. He picks up the pendant and says it can't be helped. He will drop it off at the night office after he's done shopping. After dropping it off at the night office, he comes out and sees chaos on the street. Someone says that Princess Raphine has been spotted close by. Jirei understands it and says today's the day of the month, the day when the 4th princess of this country is allowed to walk around town. After that, at night time, he jumps on his bed thinking that the princess does not concern him. This feels nice. 1 month later, he checks his money and realizes he has got almost no money left. He adds that there's only 500 reen left. That's bad, as it's gonna be tough to even pay for lodging tonight. He realizes there's no other way, so he will go and accept a request. After that, in the knight's office he checks and finds a good quest, which is an escort request to the neighboring kingdom of Edel. He says if it's by carriage, they should arrive in 5 days in Edel, and once he is done with the request, he can just chill there. Moreover, he is a little curious why the client isn't named, but the rank is irrelevant, and the reward is extraordinary. Jirei then accepts the quest and hands it over to the receptionist. After that, somewhere, he sees 3 girls and wonders if the carriage is over there. However, he sadly recognizes them and Reddy turns around. She then happily tells him it's been a while, and it seems like he didn't leave an application at the guild, so she got him one. She tells him to sign it here. Hearing that, Jirei asks why she is here. He realizes that his dream of spending his day leisurely may not be so easy to achieve. Reddy says they also happen to have business in Edel, so they took this request. She then excitedly asks if this ain't fate, and gives him the form. Jirei denies it and says it's not fate and he won't join. Suddenly, one of the girls asks Reddy if he is the one she was talking about. Reddy replies yes, and he's absurdly strong. Jirei realizes the 2 girls seem to be working with Reddy even before they took on this request. The long-haired ponytail girl then inspects him and says he does not seem strong to her. She adds that it's true his eyes look cloudy, but he's got no assuming presence or aura about him. He's also pretty much lazy, yet he's strong. Hearing that, he wonders if she's making fun of him. After that, she asks what is his name. To this, Reddy realizes and says she don't know his name as well, and the girl asks back why of all people she don't know. He then introduces himself as Jirei Lero. He is a D rank, and his specialty and hobby is sleeping. Reddy says she is Retinoa Innocent. She is the attack hero and likes sweet snacks. Also, she hates the entire vegetable category. The hooded girl introduces herself as Eve Dulkes. The remaining one says she is Lena Antitman. Her rank is A, she is kind of a mage, and currently a member of Reddy's party. Jirei thinks being a rank, she's somewhat strong. He asks what she means when she says Antitman. Lena asks back what, to which Jirei turns around and says never mind. He thinks that was dangerous as once in the past, he beat up a person with the same name, red hair, and elf ears, and they are a family of hot-blooded assassins. Therefore, it will be a huge pain in the back if this one turns out to be annoying to deal with. Hence, he wants to stay clear of her. Reddy then asks why don't they decide with majority vote whether he should enter their party. To this, Jirei asks what's with this master crap. Lena replies she don't mind, and Eve rudely says she don't care either. To this, Reddy says as it's 3 against 1. It's decided. However, Jirei tells her to wait and not go deciding things on her own. Besides, her saying she does not care means she don't want him to join, to which Reddy says Eve for sure wants her to join. Reddy then pulls Eve's hood down and says she's got this. She wants him to join face, but she's expressionless. She says she wants to let Eve decide, and Jirei asks Eve if she seriously wants the random D rank with cloudy eyes to join. Eve pulls her hoodie up and angrily says she told them it's fine with her either way. She then hurriedly walks away from there. In response, Lena tiredly tells them to not mind it, as Eve's always like that. Jirei then looks around and says the client doesn't seem to be here. Suddenly, a guy pushes Jirei away, and humbly tells Reddy that it's been a while. He is Kane Sh Talls, a B-rank adventurer. He says to be able to meet her in a place like this is truly fate, as a person of such a high-status person like her and him seems to be connected by fate after all. Jirei wonders if he's Reddy's acquaintance, as her expression saying that she's got no clue about this guy. Kane glares at Jirei and says even so, he has been curious about something for a while, and asks why the trash D-rank adventurer is here. Jirei says he is simply here because he accepted the request. Kane says he is not talking about something so trivial. As the third son of the Sh Talls family, he shall explain it in a manner that's easy to understand even to a man of such low caliber as him. He is asking why a mere D rank is here, when the request is befitting that of C or B rank. Jirei replies that he might be right, as this escort might be too harsh for a D rank, but the request said the rank was irrelevant. To this, Kane tauntfully tells him that he is probably trying to suck up to some nobles, or grab the leftovers from other adventurers. Kane adds that honestly, this is why he hates low-rank adventurers like him. He brings out a coin purse and asks if he wants money. He throws it at the ground and tells Jirei to pick it up. Seeing that, Reddy gets angry, but Jirei tells her to wait. Kane says that once he picks that up, he can remove himself from this request, as a D rank won't be of any use. He boastfully says he swears low ranks are nothing but trash. Jirei squeezes his fist and says he is not wrong. He surely might be a trash-like person. However, among those low-rank adventurers, there are those who are more knowledgeable about medicinal plants or monsters dismantling than anyone else. Some part with their earnings and help out orphanages, and many more than he knows. He boldly says that they are not trash, which shocks both Reddy and Kane. Kane turns around and says it doesn't matter what trash says, as he's still one. He tells Jirei to quickly pick it up and get out of here. Jirei annoyedly agrees to it. He crouches and says his wallet turns out to be empty. He picks up a coin and tells Kane if he thinks about it, he needs it more than him, to which Kane asks what he is saying. He is the third son of the Sh Talls family. That loose change is nothing to him. Jirei denies it and says he will need this money. He mean, if he got no right of inheriting the head position of his family, as he's the third son. He drops a coin on the ground and asks Kane how about he used this money to buy some tea and cakes and butter up to his client. He became a B rank thanks to his family and asks if he did. Hearing that, Kane angrily rushes at Jirei and is about to attack him with his sword. However, a random girl says calm down and Kane's body freezes. She tells Kane to not utter a word and lay down his sword. Kane's sword drops and he's confused about why his body moved on its own. Jirei realizes this is word magic, because if someone doesn't have talent, they can't learn it. He sees that the girl also has the same black hair as his, but she has changed her appearance with the ring of transformation. The girl then tells Kane she will give him a chance to explain himself, and she give him permission to talk. Kane tells her to hurry up and lift the restriction. He asks if she knows who is he. He is the third son of the Sh Talls family. The girl says she was the one who put in the request for an escort to Edel. In other words, she is the client and her name is Fina. She heard that the Sh Talls family sent a capable adventurer, but it seems she misheard what was said. To be honest, she would like to rescind the contract. However, thinking of the reputation of the Sh Talls family, she will make an exception, but if this happens next time, she will report his actions to the appropriate person, and that is enough about him. She turns around and tells Jirei he's next. Jirei asks if he too. Fina replies of course. She says while the person who drew the sword is at fault, the same could be said for him as well because he was needlessly fanning the flames. She has a lot more she wants to say to him, so she will be riding in the same carriage as him. She asks if he got it. Hearing this, Reddy says masters together with the client, so nice. Jirei replies it's not, and asks if this means more lecturing for him. After that, the crew gets together and they depart for the journey. Inside the moving carriage, Jirei apologizes for the late introduction and says his name is Jirei Lero. He asks if hers was Fina-san, to which Fina giggles and says he may drop the honorifics and call her as just Fina. Truthfully, instead of lecturing him, she has some questions for him instead. She then asks among his acquaintances or in his hometown if he knows a person who has black hair and wears a mask. After hearing it, Jirei's eyes become wide. He denies it, saying he don't know, as only he had black hair in his hometown, and this answer makes Fina sad. He wonders if she's interested in him because he has black hair. He says he heard recently that the hero who was chosen in Edel had black hair. To this, Fina loudly says that's right. She excitedly says finally he has appeared. She's sure that this time it's going to be that person. She will finally be able to meet her fated person. While saying it, she stood up excitedly, and Jirei awkwardly looks at her, but she instantly sits down from embarrassment and apologizes to him. Jirei says come to think of it, this request was to Edel, so in other words, if she's going to meet the black-haired hero. To this, Fina says yes, but she's not certain whether it's going to be the person that she's looking for or not. Jirei asks why the client wasn't named. Fina replies it's because she cannot disclose her social standing, as the name she gave him is not real, so she is sorry. Jirei pulls back the curtains and says she has nothing to apologize for. He points at the lady driver and says if she's here they will be guaranteed safety. Fina shockingly replies that he noticed. Jirei says the driver is quite skilled. Normally, if she only had her as the escort it would be more than enough, but she still hired adventurers. Therefore, she don't want her to fight at all costs, because her swordsmanship would reveal who she is. Jirei asks Fina if he's wrong. Fina says that's right, but it's just in case, as it's not like she don't trust him. She heard he is a D-rank adventurer, but he don't match that description at all. Jirei replies he is just good at observing people, more importantly, what kind of person she is looking for. Fina then excitedly asks if he wants to know. She gets close to him and says it can be helped, as it's a precious memory of hers, so she don't like talking about it too much. But since he also has black hair she will make an exception and tell him. Jirei replies that she is too close to him, and Fina says she was 6 years old back then. After 3 hours of yapping, she still says that's why this person is the coolest, as he has saved her just like the prince on a white horse that appears in those books. Moreover, the ring is also something she received from him, and he has promised to marry her in the future. On the other hand, Jirei gets exhausted and keeps on agreeing with her. Seeing him, she asks if he's listening to her, to which Jirei says yes. She says she has high expectations for this black-haired hero, because that person said she will become a hero. Suddenly, her stomach growls from hunger that embarrasses her. She then panickingly says it's maybe because she talked too much, and apologizes for it. After that, she adds that she was planning to set up camp at a later time. Jirei says now that he thinks about it, he still has some snacks from before. He then brings out something from item box skill. He shows her something and asks if she wants to eat it. Fina shockingly asks why he can use spatial magic. She says learning it is easy, but it requires a huge amount of mana, as only specialized porters or high-class magicians acquire this magic. Jirei asks if that's so, as he didn't know about that and learned it. Fina looks at Jirei in a weird that makes him think she's pitying him. She amazedly asks if those are highly acclaimed Chartet snacks, as they immediately get sold out. She says a person she knows sends them to her regularly as thanks for a favor. Jirei says he don't really have a sweet tooth, so he told them he don't need it. Fina replies she feels very envious. After that, he gives those to her, and she thanks her, saying she will treasure it. However, Reddy from outside the window is staring at the food yearningly, and Fina asks when did she came. Jirei then asks if she wants to eat some, to which Reddy nods yes. Fina giggles and tells them to have a break after all. After that, Reddy eats the snacks and comments these are good. Jirei gives those to others too, so Eve thanks him, and Lena says it can't be helped, she will accept his gift. While they were enjoying the snacks, Jirei looks at Kane and asks if he wants some too, but Kane turns around and tells him to shut up. He realizes he is still sulking about the fight earlier. He then puts some near Kane, and says if he don't want it, he can throw it away, so he will just leave it here. He further tells Kane if he tries it, he can give feedback later. Kane thinks that he tried to belittle him, so why to someone like him, why is he acting as if he has forgiven him? After that, during the night at campsite, someone tells Jirei to wake up, and he asks what it is. The fellow adventurer who has accepted the escort request replies he's finally awake, and says it's time to change shifts. Jirei apologizes and says he forgot he had the graveyard shift for today's night watch. He thinks that as thanks for listening to Fina's stories, she gave him a high-class dinner. He was satisfied, so he slept like a log. Wed says even though it's late, he should not let his guard down, because if he had to describe it in one word, he menacingly comments an angel possibly. Jirei asks what, and Wed replies he was only able to control himself because he has a wife, and tells him to be careful. After that, he wonders what the hell was that, and gets shocked seeing Fina on guard duty. She smilingly wishes him good evening. Jirei asks why she is here, to which she poutingly asks if she can't be here. Jirei replies no, he's not saying that, while Fina giggles. She says since she has an opportunity, she figured she might as well try keeping guard at night. She don't get many chances to go outside, so this is a valuable experience for her. She asks if it would be alright with him, and Jirei realizes Wed was talking about her. He replies if monsters appears it would be bad, to which Fina excitedly says it's fine, because even though she looks like this, she's pretty strong. Seeing her, Jirei says that's fine with him, and thinks going along with the whims of the client is also part of the course for adventurers. After all, he can't do much here with his position even if he wanted to. After that, he asks if that guard of her approved this. Fina replies she's an understanding guard, and Jirei realizes she snuck out here. She then excitedly says he can leave tonight's watch to her, as he must be tired. He should get some rest. There aren't any strong monsters out today, none that are above C rank, so it's completely fine. But Jirei denies it, and says he would be worried so he will stay with her but thanks her anyway. He wonders if she knows there aren't many monsters around. It seems like she can use detection magic as well, so he checks for it and notices something nearby. He quickly throws a stone in that direction and hits a rabbit. He picks it up and says it's a drooping rabbit of D rank, so they are quite lucky. Also, they quickly go into hiding, so it's rare to be able to see one. However, Fina on the other hand, amazedly calls the rabbit cute. Jirei asks if she has never seen one. Fina replies it's her first time seeing one. Jirei says its meat and other parts sell for a high price. Then he brings out a knife and says he will deal with this one, so he tells her to turn away. But Fina gets scared. After seeing her, he says never mind. He puts his hands up to surrender and asks if she wants to touch it. Fina cheerfully asks if it's okay. She pets the rabbit and says it's very fluffy. On the other hand, Jirei seems interested and asks about the shiny pendant she's wearing. She shows it to him and says it's her treasure. She accidentally dropped it not too long ago, but a kind person brought it back to her. Jirei says he understands and remembers that he saw this on the white-haired child he bumped with earlier. Fina says there's a photo of that person inside of this pendant. Jirei asks if by that person, she means the one she talked about earlier. She replies yes when she sees it. All she can think about is that person. However, Jirei thinks this is bad, is another monologue about her precious incoming. Fina says at times, she can't help but worry. She keeps telling herself that it's not true. She asks what if the person is no longer alive, as she has already waited for 9 years, to which Jirei replies he's sure that he's alive, as he has no way of knowing, but something tells him the person is alive. Fina cheerfully thanks him and says he's surprisingly kind. He thinks that of course he is a kind, handsome guy. It is just that he is only lacking in drive and tends to sleep most of the time. If it were possible, he would confine himself at home for all his life. Fina replies that's not good. He says that doing just enough work to live is fine with him. Half back work, half back pay. He's free to do whatever, there's no stress at all. He asks ain't this the best? However, Fina amusedly looks at him and comments free. She replies she too, and if she can do it without minding her status, she would do it. Jirei says that she has made that decision herself, so it's fine even if she elopes with that person. After hearing it, she realizes something and says he's right. It might happen if she meets that person. She thinks she's reckless enough for that to happen. Hearing that, Jirei tells her to not mind it, as she has made a promise and has been waiting for 9 years now, so being a bit selfish sounds about right. She smiles and asks if she should go with that. It's so mysterious that she has ended up talking about all sorts of things with him. He says well, if she wants to confide in him, then she can go ahead. But if she has any other worries, he will gladly listen to them. Fina gets excited hearing that, and says that's right. She wants to talk more about that person, but Jirei replies well, in moderation. He narrates that it's been several days since they took on this request and there has been no action at all. The other adventurers took care of all the monsters, so there was nothing for him to do. It was super chill. After that, Fina says they finally came out of the woods, and luckily there's a village nearby, so she suggests resting there for that day. The group then goes to the village entrance, and Fina confusedly asks why there aren't any gate guards, as there's something strange about this, and tells everyone to check out inside together. The village is empty, and Fina asks why there aren't any villagers at all. Suddenly, an elder wobblingly comes out and asks if they are adventurers. Fina asks her what happened, and where the other people are, to which the elder says everyone got kidnapped. Jirei narrates that according to the old man who was only stopping by for a short stay, it happened a few days ago. A lot of monsters together with men wearing black masks came. The village was rummaged for its food, goods and any precious metals, and all of the villagers were taken away. It seems that they were able to bypass the gate guards by threatening a merchant and hiding inside one of the cargo carts the merchant was transporting. They could not ask the neighboring country for help, and the magic tool for communicating does not cover enough distance. So message was useless, and until they showed up, there was nothing that could be done. After that, Wed says they were probably beast tamers, to which Eve says kidnappers. Hearing that, Fina anxiously says but slavery was abolished in the Hurt continent a few years ago, so she asks if Eve means, to which Jirei replies that's right. It has not been abolished in other continents, mainly in other continents, especially the parts that are occupied mainly by beast folk in the Bestia continent. Many beast folk over there still hold strong resentment against being colonized and oppressed in the past war. Hence, he's sure that human slaves fetch quite a high price. Jirei feels like the old man wasn't kidnapped because with those legs, he could not work anymore. They probably judged his value as slave to be low. He asks Fina what they are going to do now. To this, Fina nervously asks what he means. Jirei says that they only accepted a request to escort, so what pertains to the request and beyond is for her to decide, as she's the client. The village was attacked a few days ago. If it's now, there is still a possibility they could catch up. Fina says they will surely save them, as she cannot allow herself to abandon them. After hearing her decision, everyone becomes happy. Wed asks how will they search for them, to which Fina says it's okay, as she will use clairvoyance. Hearing that, Fina's guard grabs her and says she must not use it, but she tells her to let her go, as human lives are at stake. The guard says if she does, then her disguising herself won't have any meaning anymore. Meanwhile, Jirei uses item box skill and brings out something. He says he has this magic tool for searching and thought of using it here, and asks if there's any need. Both Fina and her guard gets confused. After that, when Jirei uses it, Fina asks if that tool is pretty rare, also, why he has something like that. Jirei replies he just happens to, and he got it some time ago. After looking around, he says he found them. They are in a cave in the woods, and it seems they haven't gone that far yet. Fina shockingly asks if it's for real, so he hands her the item and asks if she wants to take a look. Fina checks and says the information matches indeed, and the villagers seem to be fine as well. But Wed says from what he sees, they are controlling monsters above rank B. There are over 60 of them, so confronting them normally will pose difficulties with this difference in power. Fina says they might also resort to using the villagers as hostages as well. Finding a way to sneak in and rescue the villagers might be the safest option. Wed replies that they should create a diversion so the villagers could be rescued, because holding that many down for a long time is impossible. Lena then asks if they are saying they should avoid fighting in order to save the villagers, because if they do, they will get away, and do that all over again. She thinks they should crush them right here. However, everyone looks worried, and Jirei asks why they are troubled by this. He asks if it ain't fine if they just attack from the front. Wed and Lena ask back what he means by that. Jirei then points at Reddy and asks if she's an attack hero or not. Therefore, going at them directly is gonna be super easy. After hearing it, everyone remembers that she's the hero as they completely forgot it. After that, a kidnapper asks what's with them. While Lena is attacking them with fire magic, she says they won't escape. On the other hand, kidnappers orders some dogs to charges at Reddy. She uses her sword to easily slash and slice them, and says these are easy. Meanwhile, Jirei is observing them and says they are going at it, which is expected of an high-rank adventurers and the hero who's above them. He narrates if they are wondering why he's not fighting with them, and instead, he's just chilling on the ceiling of the enemy's hideout with gravitation magic. It's pretty simple, as he was assigned the duty of house sitting. As he's a D-rank adventurer, He can't blame them for thinking he would get in their way, rather, he don't even feel like fighting. But the skull scarf bothers him, because it's the same as before when he encountered some bandits. He thinks it's unusual for him to remember something from the past. Well, just in case, he feels like it's annoying but better to be safe. After that, he uses his detection magic, and sees that the rescuing of the villagers seems to be going fine. Hence he's relieved. Jirei then sees Kane fighting near him, so he calls him in worry as the bandit about to attack him with his sword. Jirei thinks that it can't be helped and uses his skill marionette and binds the bandit like a puppet. He then controls the bandit to stab his own neck with the knife. Seeing this, Kane gets confused and slashes the attacking wolf with his knife. Jirei thinks that he thought Kane was a B-rank adventurer in name only, but he moves well. These movements are befitting that of a C rank, but wonders why Kane is not using body strengthening. It's an indispensable magic for any swordsman, as it supports their sword skills, so if he did, he would not be struggling so much right now. He also does not seem to be using presence detection, so Jirei wonders if that's because of high school regulations. However, he thinks that he's no stranger to unusual circumstances, as he has once trained in binding people up, so it could be something like that probably. Reddy then slashes and kills a monster with her sword and happily says that's the last one. And Lena says that got done faster than she thought. After that, Wed tells everyone to meet up with the rescue party and they get out of the cave. On the other hand, Jirei realizes Reddy's group left, so he lands down from the ceiling. He murmurs that this is the place where they held kidnapped villagers. He puts his hand on a wall and says it's made to look like a dead end, but he uses technique release to shatter the illusion. Afterward, he sees a huge magic circle and says it's time to quickly get this over with. Somewhere else, a bandit is running and scaredly asks why the attack hero was there, as the plan's totally messed up now. He then goes near a magic circle and says it's fine, as this remained intact. He brings out some bells to try it again in a different location. But suddenly, his body gets paralyzed and he falls down. It was Jirei who was doing something to him. After that, Jirei picks up the subordination bells and says there's 10 of them. He tells the guy he got an unusual magical tool on him. Truly, if he has something like this, he would be able to control this many monsters, as there is a huge horde around him. The guy asks why he's here, to which Jirei asks why does he ask. He simply followed him using the transfer magic circle he left behind. To this, the guy displays a shocked reaction, and says he used concealment magic to hide it, and he's sure of it. Jirei asks if he thought it was hidden from him with something that crude. If so, then he should go back to practice some more. The guy gets confused as he's an ex-high-rank magician adventurer. The number of people that would be able to see through it are very few. Looking at the magic circle, Jirei says he was wondering how they would relocate the villagers they captured to another continent. It's impossible to get them through the border because of their numbers. Therefore, the only reasonable answer left was a large-scale transfer magic circle. He then puts his hand near the circle and says this is a transfer magic circle to the Bestia continent, and he easily destroys it. On the other hand, the guy gets shocked as he easily analyzed, interfered, and destroyed it. Jirei asks the guy if he is a survivor of the Skull Brigade, to which the guy scaredly asks why he has that. Jirei replies it's true then, as he thought he crushed all of them, so he was being careless. It's over, so it's time to go back. Meanwhile, the guy thinks the paralysis should subside any moment now, so for now, he should get into position to run away. However, Jirei tells the guy he forgot to tell him that it's best if he don't try to move, as it's too late. Then all of a sudden, the guy feels a sting and completely tastes the ground. Jirei explains that the paralyze he has arranged spreads poison throughout his body if he moves, so it will hurt, and he will die in a few minutes. The guy begs him to save, to which Jirei says he understands that he wants to be saved. Therefore, he crouches and asks the guy if he swears that he will change his ways and turn himself into the knights. The guy says he swears, but Jirei grabs the guy's hair and says that unfortunately for him, he has decided to never trust the likes of him ever again. He asks the guy if he knows what happens to slaves in the Bestia continent. They get treated so badly that they start regretting their very birth. Even if they shout for help, it falls on deaf ears. He asks if that ain't sad or not. He then stands up and tells the guy he don't deserve any sort of kindness. The guy curses him and throws a bell at him, and because of that, the bell activates and the beasts respond to it. The guy says he will bring him down with him, as all of the beasts starts attacking Jirei. However, he tells them to stop, and all of them responds to it. He says that they are in the way and tells them to open a path for him. After that, he walks away unscathed and the guy regrets. It's as if he is the demon lord. He then brings out a black coat from the item box and wears it. He comments that to go, tonight the darkness is deep. After that somewhere, he covers his face and says it's so embarrassing. Seeing him, Wed asks what's wrong, and if he's not feeling well, Jirei replies it's not like that. He narrates that a few hours ago, he was chasing a survivor of a group of human traffickers. He followed him by using the transfer magic circle he had set up. But what happened after that? It has been a while since he had awakened that side of him. Jirei then snaps back to reality and says he will forget about it. The villagers prepared a banquet to celebrate their rescue and to welcome them as well. Everyone is having fun, so he also wants to enjoy it. While eating, he notices Cain walking away somewhere and wonders what's up with him. He calls him and asks where he's going, and if he's not going to eat. Cain tells him to leave him alone, but Jirei replies it's just a meal and asks if he's not hungry. Cain sadly says he does not have that privilege, to which Jirei asks what. Cain explains that he was not able to do anything, as the hero and the other adventurers produced results in battle. He had trouble with a single wolf, so he was simply in the way for them. Hearing that, Jirei laughs and tells Cain to not worry about that, as he was also sitting. Moreover, he participated in the battle, so that's way better. Cain then angrily says to not mess with him, as he's Cain, the third son of Tall's family. Compared to an adventurer with no responsibilities like him, he is different from the likes of a low-ranking adventurer. It's not the same, and Jirei just stares at him. Cain then crouches and thinks that he is painfully aware he has no talent, as someone told him he is a disgrace to the family, and he should be grateful he is allowed to live. From the moment he was born, he had no magic power. It was a condition such that he could not use any mana. Magic was essential to swordsmen, but he had no choice but to use physical prowess. However, he could never catch up to his brothers. Back in time, his father told him to rejoice. This would be a present for him who has nothing, so he will give him a high rank as an adventurer. He is certain his father wanted to uphold his reputation. He joined a party of high-ranking adventurers and was granted a decorative ranking. But he thought of it as an opportunity, because if he produced results, then even he would have a place where he belonged. Back in time, someone asked if he was the B rank who was recruiting and called him a leader. He narrates that they were the low rank adventurers people talked about. They were D rank or lower, but he was fine with that. He thought of them as his comrades. That alone made him happy. He thinks going on adventures with them was fun. But one day, as he's walking through the corridor, he overhears them calling him an idiot. They mocked him to pay for all of their equipment only because they are comrades. One says he does not suspect them if they say it's for their family when their weapon breaks. He asks others what do they think what he said when he showed him an apologetic face and asked for help. The other one replies that it's fine, as they are comrades, it's a given to help one another. Hearing that, everyone starts laughing and calls him a sponsor of their activities. Cain feels devastated after overhearing them. He dashes away from there asking why. He thought of them as comrades and calls them trash. Also, parasites that clings to high-ranking adventurers. All of those low ranks are nothing but trash. In the current timeline, Jirei tells Cain if he changes his mind he can come. But if he don't hurry up, then he will eat all of it. Jirei remembers and says he also wanted his opinion on those snacks from earlier. He tells Cain to taste it properly and let him know, and goes away. And Cain wonders why he cares about him, as he's just a D rank. After that in the banquet, Jirei says it seems like Cain is living a hard life, but being chill like him is fine too. However, it doesn't concern him, although he would like to know what those sweets taste like for a noble. Moving on, they dealt with the incident and enjoyed the feast. Now they are back to a peaceful escort journey. Everyone gets to enjoy their lunch break how they want, and he always looks for a peaceful place. He sleeps alone and does enjoy a peaceful nap. Nearby, Reddy was catching fishes on the pond and wonders if those are edible. She catches a big one and says it's her lunch today. When he woke up, there were 3 girls frolicking in the water in front of him, and before he knew it, the skin-colored space had expanded as he became excited. Therefore, he wonders what he will do here. Lena washes herself and says that it feels good, and they should also wash their body once a day. Eve agrees to it and says if she uses cleanses, it will wash away the dirt, but it feels awful. Reddy, on the other hand, is busy catching fishes. Seeing them, Jirei thinks that this has turned into a bad situation, as he was only taking a nap here. In order to not get disturbed, he casted camouflage on himself, so he hasn't been found out yet. However, if he assimilated the background, so even if he move a muscle, they will find out and label him a peeping Tom. After some time, Lena says the client of this escort is a bit of an oddball. Even though she's noble, she's not arrogant about it at all. And due to her family situation, she wanted to bathe alone, to which Reddy asks if the both of them are nobles too. Eve says that more or less she is an adopted child. To this, Reddy says she is something like that as well, probably, and says it's her family if she knows. Lena then tells Eve that she thought she didn't wanted to be friends with others, but she is chatting with them. Lena leans in close to her and says that makes her happy, to which Eve tells her to shut up. She asks if they are really safe from anyone seeing them. Lena replies she said they are going to be fine, while Jirei feels nervous. Lena says she confirmed it with detection magic that there were no other people here. She also set up a magic barrier, so that nobody would be able to enter. Eve replies that there could be an unlikely event. Lena says there's no way, unless someone uses a high-level disguise magic. After hearing her, Jirei realizes that his camouflage magic is high level and calls this a misfortune. Lena asks Eve why does she care so much as they are wearing swimsuits, or if she has a lover or someone she likes. Eve denies it and says there's no need to tell her, to which Lena says that's suspicious. Eve says she's quite normal, and she believes a girl should only show herself before someone they like. Moreover, she was told that they don't like people who don't take care of themselves by someone. Hearing that, Lena gets confused, as she has got someone after all. Lena smiles and calls this nice. She is quite envious of her being able to call herself a normal girl. However, Lena says it's very unlikely, and asks what would she do if someone saw her. Eve menacingly says she will make sure they regret living, and she swears on it. Lena says it's quite extreme, and asks if she heard a voice just now. They looks in a direction and says peeping Tom. Meanwhile, Jirei is crying thinking that they know his location so they will find him eventually. He has got no choice but to do this. So he turns himself into a white rabbit. He starts jumping thinking he can now run. However, Eve catches him and Lena says it's a drooping rabbit. To this, Reddy asks if that's the one with tasty meat, so then today's lunch will be meat and fish. Meanwhile, Jirei is panicking thinking this is very bad because he sucks at this metamorphosis magic, and 3 minutes is his limit. After that, Eve calls it cute and is about to pet it, but suddenly, Jirei slips away and starts running, to which Lena and Eve both get speechless. After that, Jirei comes back to normal, and says that was dangerous. He wonders if he wasn't found, because he somehow kept his dignity. Suddenly, he notices something sparkling and wonders why the spirits are gathering here. He sees that a girl is unclothed, and wonders if she's talking with the spirits. He feels like he's seeing an angelic beauty from a fairy tale. He thinks that her beautiful white hair, ruby-like scarlet eyes, and smooth skin. However, he dashes away from there wondering why he is ogling like a pervert. After that, he happily says he made it out of the barrier magic and realizes something. He wonders if there was someone like that in their group. He narrates it has been 5 days since they took on this escort quest. Then Wed calls Jirei telling him to play cards with them. Jirei says he don't like losing every time, as he is definitely cheating, so there's no way he's playing. Wed asks what does he even mean, and Fina giggles. Everyone is having fun, and Jirei thinks they are too relaxed. He wonders if they have forgotten they are escorts on a quest. Well, they will reach Edel in a bit, so it's about time the scouts came back from Edel. The journey with these guys is now over while a scout comes running. The scout fearfully tells them it's bad, that makes them cautious. Fina goes to the scout and tells him to calm down. She asks what happened. The scout pantingly says Edel, monsters have taken over the city. After that at Edel's main gate, Fina asks what's this and what's going on. Jirei says there's zombies, skeletons, and wraiths. Lena says she feels the energy of undead monsters from the entire city. Jirei says they don't seem to be able to go past the city's barrier. A random adventurer says defeating all of these is gonna be difficult, as he don't think this happened naturally either. He asks if they are city's residents. To this, Eve says there's no other possibility, as one can't summon such a large number and it's impossible to keep recasting, so it's almost certain these are the residents. Fina says it's fine, as she is sure everyone is hiding safely somewhere. She's sure about her special person too. Hearing this, Lena asks how can she say something so naive when she sees this. Because there is no way anyone survived this. Kane asks if it ain't the best if they get out of here, and suggests to quickly run away. Wed replies if he wants to run away, he should do that. He's still young, so they won't think anything of it. Kane yells and asks what he's saying they should do then. Even if they fight they will just die senselessly, as what can they even do? Wed replies that it's true, there might be no meaning to it. However, right now they are contained thanks to the barrier. But what happens if the barrier is taken down, and where does he think this horde will move to? Kane gets scared and says there's no way. Wed explains the horde will go to any nearby village, town, or country. Therefore, to make a rescue possible, they need to buy some time. The Universia Kingdom is close to here, and his family lives there. Hence, his only option to run away does not exist for him. Wed then calls Jirei and asks if he can count on him and Kane to escort the lady to Universia, and call for backup. He apologizes to Reddy and others, telling them he needs them to stay to fight. Fina says no, she will stay as well. Wed gets confused about this, and Fina says she has to check something no matter what. Kane asks why they are not running away. Are they not afraid, and if they don't want to live? Wed says of course he is afraid, while Kane is panting. But isn't it scarier to lose a person that's dear to him? Kane thinks that this could be his last chance to change himself, if he fight together and they overcome it. There's a chance he could gain true friends, even if it's someone like him. Maybe they would think he is needed. Kane then asks if he would be any help to them. In response, Wed pats him and says he actually got some guts, and of course he's more than welcome. However, Jirei realizes that if nobody runs he will have to fight, because he also wanted to go back. After that, everyone looks at Jirei and Wed calls him, which makes Jirei flinch, and he sweatingly replies he will fight too. Wed says they need to think of a plan first, to which Eve says the person who turned them should be close by. Defeating them is one thing, so she asks how are they going to find out where they are. Wed asks what if they use his magic tool, to which Jirei says he has been trying for a while, but it's no good as he can't find them. He further says that he is sure if they use the highest rank of detection magic, it would be different. Suddenly, Fina says she has an idea, but her guard gets scared. Fina is about to take off her ring, and her guard says she must not do it. After taking it off, Fina starts shining and says she Raffine Odium Refinado will search for the person with clairvoyance. She gets transformed into a girl with white hairs which shocks everyone. Lena says she was the princess all along. Fina replies yes, she didn't want to reveal her true identity but the situation calls for it. However, Jirei remembers that before he took this request, the surroundings were lively because of her. A fleeting beauty of a blooming flower, the only one smart enough to use clairvoyance said to be the highest level of detection magic in the kingdom. He feels like she's more like an idol rather than a princess, as she's also friendly with the kingdom's people. Moreover, she also got a lot of fan clubs. He wonders if it was the princess bathing back then. If so, he wants to do his utmost to hide that he peeped at her. The guard then calls Raffine and asks if she realizes what she's doing, as she's putting herself in danger by revealing her identity. Raffine tells her guard she ought to be quiet. It would not do to think that way under these circumstances. Then, she would like to use her clairvoyance to find the person behind this and asks if it's fine. Lena tells her to go ahead. Raffine then kneels down to begin her search and says she shall begin. She prays calling the many great spirits dwelling here. The fourth princess of Universia Kingdom Raffine Odium Raffinado commands them. Grant upon her the eyes of God to see through this world, clairvoyance. All of a sudden, something rings and a search radar expands. Jirei thinks this is amazing, because originally, the chance abbreviation would be even longer. He believes Raffine is in perfect control of such a delicate, large, and dense amount of magic power. She would be a match for an S-rank magician. He thinks that he tried to learn clairvoyance once before, but he gave up because it involved a lot of reading. Plus he is a see, then do type of guy. It would have been nice if there were people around him who could use this skill. However, he now wonders if he could just see what she does and then try it himself. He then stares at her and mimics her hand movements. Suddenly, something rings and Jirei also activates clairvoyance. He sees there's someone behind him and turns around in disbelief. A menacing-looking evil skeleton has been observing them for some time. Jirei thinks that it seems like no one else has noticed. In other words, it means Raffine's clairvoyance missed this guy because his level is much higher. On the other hand, the evil skeleton giggles and wonders if he should go on the attack from here on out. After that, the skeleton reveals himself and calls them foolish humans. He is the Death Eater Calfs, one of the 4 heavenly kings serving the demon lord. He beckons them to come and experience eternal sleep at the hands of theirs truly. Hearing that, everyone shockingly looks at Calfs. Raffine asks why did clairvoyance had no reaction. To which Calf says they are truly pitiable existences to think they could detect him with such means. They failed to find him so he had to come out himself. Suddenly, an adventurer projects an attack called Void Blade Decapitation at Calfs and tells him to eat this. However, Calfs easily tanks it with the barrier around him and says that won't work. He asks the adventurer if his weapon is a toy sword. The adventurer realizes there's a barrier. Tarfs then twists his wrist and says it will not work. He detests people such as him. Suddenly, the guy's stomach pierces in circle, which confuses him. Tarfs calls the guy an inferior human and asks if he could do a favor and not oppose a higher being. The adventurer falls down and Raphael panickingly calls for recovery magic. Eve quickly starts healing with high heal magic. On the other hand, Jirei thinks that attack just now was a magic bullet. He was just barely able to react in time and hit the lump of magic to weaken it. Yet it had much power. This might be bad. He sees the healing is going well, so he is sure the guy won't die immediately. But it will be a matter of time if he don't get to a hospital. Kafs laughingly asks them if they finally understood the position they are in. However, Reddy gets in action and says she will be his opponent. She calls her holy sword Gira and respells it as Giralberto, then says she will make him into a sloppy mess with this sword here. Kafs gets confused and asks if she is a hero of this generation. Reddy replies that's right. She then points at Jirei and says that's her teacher. He's 10 billion times stronger than him. Kafs asks 10 billion and calls that an amusing jest. He thinks they should stop playing now, since there seems to be people who know how to stay stall. He calls Lena and says for a while now she has been needing mana and she thought he would not notice. He also needs to report to His Excellency, the Demon Lord, so he don't have time to play with them. He then joyfully says he is sure the Demon Lord will be happy. He's sure he will praised. He even took care of the black-haired hero that Demon Lord was talking about. The things they wanted, the city, he got it all. After hearing it, Raphael is in disbelief. She then asks if that's a lie, because the black-haired hero cannot be dead. Kafs asks why would he lie to them inferior humans, and tells them to take a look. He projects the hero to them, and asks if he's right there. He further says truth be told, the hero was weak, even tough he was a hero his divine protection was weak. He thought he was some sort of bug or something. Raphael says there's no way, he was her hero, her fated one, for that person to die. Suddenly, Shion yells at Raphael telling her to come back to senses, as it's only a drivel from a demon. Kaf says a small amount of time ended up getting wasted in the end, so they should wrap this up soon. He unleashes excess gravity spell and everyone can feel the pressure. Someone confusedly asks what is this, as his body feels heavy. Kafs giggles and says with this they won't be able to escape. Jirei thinks that frankly, the power of this skeleton is greater than he thought. He didn't expect the high-rank adventurers and the hero ready to be completely helpless against it. He really didn't want to stand out during this escort quest. In the first place, he stayed at D rank so that he could be lazy. He really don't want to do this, but it seems like it's not the time to be saying that. Therefore, it can't be helped and leaves a deep breath. He starts getting up, to which Kafs confusedly asks why is he able to get up like that. Did if he forgot to cast it on him, excess gravity, did he does it again. However, Jirei is unfazed. He asks if he did it again. Kafs gets confused even more and asks why it's not working on him. He must have a magical tool that disables it. But Jirei denies it and says he don't have it. Kafs then laughs and says there's no need to act strong. To be honest with him, he intended to turn all of them into undead, but he has now decided to have them experience a horrible death. After that, Kafs casts an abyssal black flame at Jirei. The flame comes near him and he asks what is this. Wed tells Jirei to evade it, but Jirei grabs the flame. The flame then bursts and burns him, and seeing that, Wed yells for him in worry. However, Reddy can't believe what she's seeing. The flame is burning Jirei, but he remains unfazed. He asks what, and tells them to stop shouting, as it's annoying. He is burning, and Wed and Reddy confusedly stares at him. Jirei says it will be fine, as he has even withstood a dragon's breath previously. Hearing that, Wed feels astonished. He asks if he is even alive in that condition, to which Jirei says for the time being, yes he is. Now that he think on it, these flames have been annoying him for a while now. He grabs the flame and throws it on the ground. Seeing this, Kafs gets shocked and says that's not possible, for his attack to be erased just like that, if it's another attribute magic. He casts a Calamity Water Dragon, but Jirei simply slaps it. He easily captures Kafs' magic on a life-reaping stone coffin. He then blows Storm of Annihilation at Kafs, to which he starts levitating and confusedly asks what is it with him. It cannot be helped, this is the single spell that he didn't want to use. He then calls the dark spirits dwelling in the abyss who govern over the cycle of life and death, the governor of death under the servitude of the demon lord. Under the name of Yuri Vastork Kafs, he commands them to grant the living absolute death and let the dead suffer for eternity. Ultimately to let the foolish weaklings return to nothingness. After that, a gigantic black eclipse catastrophe fall on top of Edel. Wed says it's all over if such a huge fireball hits them then. However, Jirei puts his fists at the sky and says it will probably be okay. He dispels the magic with skill interference. Seeing that, Kafs gets stunned and asks what the hell and how he did it. Kafs asks if he is really human, to which Jirei replies that no matter how he looks at him, he's a human. Leaving that aside, if he's out of mana, Kafs begs and tells him to wait a minute. There's no way he could lose to human. Kafs then suddenly pinches and controls Kane. He comes in between them and says it's not how it looks, as his body is moving on its own. Kafs says that he casted manipulation magic with what mana he had left. He barely has any mana, so it's easy to control him. He got saved by the fact that there were weaker humans nearby. He adds that with his friend as a hostage, there's nothing he can do and asks if he's correct. However, Jirei denies it and says he is not his friend, which makes Kane confused. Kafs can't believe it and insists that he is a friend and again asks if he's wrong. Wed calls Jirei and tells him to stop making jokes at a time like this, but Jirei asks if would not their relationship only last during this escort quest. At best, he is a stranger at worst, so he asks if they are telling him he's a friend. After hearing it, both Wed and Kafs become speechless. Kafs calls him a horrible person as if he's a demon. However, he then asks what if he takes more people as hostages? What if he said that all of these citizens from Adel were at his mercy? Hearing that, Wed asks what is he saying, and if they are not dead already. Jirei understands it, and asks if it's a falsehood barrier. He explains that it's a barrier that can turn falsehoods into truths in a specified area. If the conditions are met, the conditions are red sky, collapsed buildings, numerous bloodstains, and scattered lumps of flesh. He asks if it's said as reversal of life and death. He has got quite the bad taste. In reply, Kafs gigglingly says that's right, and asks if he don't want to save the people of this city. Raphine asks if they can be saved. She then cryingly begs Kafs to save them. Seeing her, Kafs asks what's this? All of that depends on that man there. It seems like she has people in there she would like to save. Raphine replies if that person is not there, it's no good, because if that person comes back to life, then she's willing to do anything it takes. Therefore, Raphine cryingly begs him again. Jirei thinks by that person, she means the guy that died. But if the guy's a hero, the divine protection from his holy mark should have kept him safe in this barrier. So he asks Raphine if she will do anything it takes. Even if she don't do stuff like that, she should look here. As he clears the illusion with purify undead magic. After that, the city comes to life, and a lady asks what she was doing here. A guy says it felt like he was an undead. On the other hand, the hero yawns and wonders if he was sleeping. Seeing that, Kafs asks what he did to his barrier. Jirei says for falsehood barrier, all he needs to do is change its conditions, and asks if he's wrong. He used a slightly altered turn undead to clear the skies, fix the damaged city, and in doing so broke the barrier, and in the end, he turned everyone back to living. That's all, to which Kafs confusedly asks if he's saying that's all. Then he will have to draw for today, because if he tries to kill him, he will take down his travel companion with him. Kane yells at Jirei to not mind him, because rather than becoming a burden, he can kill him and this guy right over here. During his life, he was never needed by anyone, so he don't mind dying here. Jirei replies that it's not like he's trying to get him killed here. Kane feels confused after hearing it. He then points his finger at the sky, and tells Kane while it's true that he is a bastard who thinks of nothing but himself, but he still needs him. Therefore, he won't let him die. And he snaps his finger. Instantly Kafs' head bursts like a balloon. He disappears, and everyone can move again, so he sighs and says it's finally over. After that, Wed loudly calls Jirei and hugs him. He starts crying and asks why he is at D rank being so strong, as he thought he was gonna die. On the other hand, Raphine is impressed as Jirei destroyed his barrier, even though that monster was considerably weakened. To defeat him in one attack, Reddy says this is as expected of her master. He is amazing, but Jirei tells everyone to give him some space. He wonders if it was better to go back without fighting. Then he smiles and thinks from time to time, he guesses doing such things isn't so bad. Suddenly, he feels a strong bloodlust and wonders who's the target, as it's not directed at him. He jumps at Raphine to save her from the attack. He then tanks the magic spell on his back while shielding Raphine. He wonders what that attack was just now. Come to think of it, Lena has the same last name as a family of assassins. He suspects if it's her and why she aimed for Raphine. But he denies it and says no, right now what's more important is. He asks Raphine if she's okay. Raphine replies yes and asks what about him. Jirei notices that his shirt is burnt and says that his clothes took a beating. He puts off his shirt and says he will throw this out, wondering if he had a spare somewhere. However, Raphine notices the scar on his body and wonders if he's the person. Raphine narrates that this story takes place 9 years ago. She was 6 years old and playing with her maid somewhere in a castle. At that time, she was still acting very childishly and causing trouble for the people at the royal palace. Her father, the king, Pillar Odium Refinado, adored her. No matter what sort of prank she pulled, she was never in trouble. However, there was a reason why she was constantly playing pranks on people. Because one day, she asks her elder sister to play. But her elder sister tells her to go away and calls her dirty blood. She asks Raphine why would she want to play with an illegitimate child like her, as she would get dirty as well. After that, young Raphine on her bed wonders illegitimate what's that, why they won't play with her, and why her father is always busy. She sobbingly asks her teddy bear if she did something bad to everyone. She was always alone and wanted someone to look at her. She was lonely, so she was playing pranks on others. On one such day, she was slipping out of the royal castle and going to a nearby forest to build her own secret base. She gets out of the castle and says she was easily able to sneak out again. However, she sees a young guy doing push-ups, continuing counting from 13,001. 13,002, she gets scared and asks who is that. She notices the guy has beautiful black hair, although he has got a weird mask on. After that, the guy stands up and asks if someone is there. He says this is a warning and demands to show himself now, and if not, he will come to him. The guy then quickly comes to Raphine and sees it's only a child. He tells Raphine to go home as this is no place for a child, and she will worry her parents. Raphine yells that this is her place, and tells him to get lost. The guy says it's not like this place is on her property, and asks why should he be the one to leave. Raphine replies it's her secret base. He orders her to go away somewhere. Raphine asks if he just did something, and the guy wonders why his word magic didn't work. He asks if he was being rude and apologizes to her. Raphine pouts with tearful eyes, and the guy wonders why it worked on everyone else until now. She then starts crying, and seeing her, the boy tells her to not cry, as he will tell her an amazing story. After saying that, the boy told various stories. All of his stories were a lot more interesting than the ones at the royal palace, so she got absorbed in them quickly. The boy says and they all lived happily ever after and asks if her tears stopped. Raphine angrily replies she's still crying, to which the boy says but she's not, yet Raphine insists him to tell her more. He says that's it for today and asks if she got it. He also asks if she should go home as it's getting dark, then Raphine says goodbye. She happily says she will see him tomorrow. From that day on, she started coming to that secret place every day, and the next day, boy asks if she wants those stories again, to which she says yes. Out of all the stories that the boy told, the one where the hero defeats the demon lord and saves the world then marries the princess is the one she liked the most, despite it being a simple hero story. She asks the boy if she can become like him, to which the boy says there's no way. Raphine insists on asking why, then the boy explains that in the first place, this princess is able to talk in a polite manner, unlike some stupid brat. However, Raphine insists she can do it too, and speaks politely. To this, boy chuckles and asks what's with that. She narrates that she wished for these blissful days to continue forever, just when she started thinking like that. One day, when she was going to go to her secret base like usual, but got caught by bad adults. One of the adults says just as info indicated, she's a fairly fancily dressed brat. She must be from an extremely rich noble's household, so definitely they are going to extort her. The man then calls Raphine and asks if she wants to come with them for a bit. But Raphine comments don't come, and the guy confusedly says his body won't move and asks if she did something. However, one of the other adults hits her and she falls down on the ground. She realizes that she can't control this many people at once, also, it hurts. The leader then says for doing stupid things like this, he was firstly thinking of letting her go after extorting money, but now he's changed his mind. They will sell her, and tells her to not think she can ever see her parents again. He orders others to plug her mouth and put her in the bag. Meanwhile, she's crying and asking for help. Then suddenly, the boy calls them and asks what they are doing. He easily defeats all of his underlings, and in reply, the leader asks who the hell is he. He's scared as the boy appeared in the blink of an eye and defeated all of his underlings with ease. The leader attacks the boy with a big sword and unarms him. He asks if he thinks he is some hero when he's willing to die for some brat. To this, the boy says he don't get it. He asks why he does this, as he's so strong. When he's that strong, there's plenty of other paths for him. The leader asks what's this, and if he's pleading for his life. The boy says he has the power to live a decent life, so why won't he? Why he tries to plunder from the weak. The leader asks back what is he saying. He is doing this because this is the most fun for him, and asks if he don't think so. Living normally is just too damn boring, and living however he wants is the best. He attacks the boy, saying he will teach him something nice, that this world is about the survival of the fittest. But the boy easily blocks the sword with his hand, which shocks the leader. The boy replies he now understands what type of person he is. The boy then destroys the sword with his hand and holds the leader's neck, and says that he will surrender himself to the chivalric order and repent. Do that and he will save him. The leader barely says he gets it and swears, and the boy asks if he's for real. The leader replies yes, he won't do it again. From now on he will live a proper life. He apologizes to the boy and says he was a very bad person who would do anything if it benefited him, which is killing, stealing, and especially resorting to underhanded means. On the other hand, the other bandits have captured Raphael, and one of them says that hurts, and adds that having trouble against some brat, as his nose is broken. The boy is about to move, but the leader stops him. He says if he moves, then the brat's head inside this bag goes pop, and if he don't mind her head crushed, then he can move. No matter how strong he is still a brat, and asks if he avoided their vitals to not kill them. His underlings are not so weak. He calls the boy naive for fighting without resolve to kill, and says that's laughable. Boy asks if he was lying when he said he would atone for his crimes, to which the leader says he is surely not going to honor a verbal promise like that. He orders the boy to release body reinforcement or he will kill that brat. He again yells, asking if he's listening, and demands to do it now. After releasing body reinforcement, the leader instantly punches him. He calls him a shitty brat and everyone gangs up on him. The leader tells everyone to leave it and asks the boy to wake up. He holds his hair and says he is strong, and his strength at this age could be said to be miraculous. It's a shame to kill him. However, he offers the boy to come with him and join his skull brigade, because if it's him, he can make him his right-hand man, and he would be number 2 out of 300 people. He asks if he don't think those are some exceptional conditions. The boy replies that he refuses, and the leader kicks him in his gut and says it seems like he still don't get the position he's in, because the decision whether he lives or dies is in his hands. Therefore, he will say it one more time to become his underling. After that, the boy slowly stands up, to which the leader panickingly asks why he is getting up, and tells him to not move. He also threatens about Raphael, but the boy smiles and says it's not an issue anymore. When the leader looks around and then he sees his underlings stabbed with swords and daggers, the leader scaredly asks what he did. The boy replies it's true that he lacked resolve. He thought he only needed to fight monsters to become a hero, although he knew that it wasn't probably enough. He thanks the leader as he finally found his resolve, because he is not the brightest to see things unless it gets to points like this. In order to achieve his goal, he will murder all of them. To begin with, he despises people like them, so he asks if it's easy to guess why. In response, the leader brings out a knife and charges at the boy, calling him a deadbeat. However, his body gets caught by strings and confusedly asks why his body won't move. The boy uses his skill marionette and says he really didn't want to use this magic. He lacks training, so it only works on people with low magic resistance. There's also the possibility that someone will never return to their true self. The boy then with a sword approaches the leader. He says he has found his resolve and won't show him any mercy. After that, he kills the leader with a single slash. He then goes to Raphael and heals her, to which she thanks him. The boy hugs her and says it's better if she don't look. He explains to her that they were from a famous bandit group in this area, and she don't need to worry as they got what they deserved. Raphael asks why he saved her, to which the boy asks if it ain't given for heroes to save people or not. Raphael replies yes. He puts his forehead on hers and asks what's the matter. Her body temperature seems to be high. She's a bit hot, so he will carry her close to her home. After that, on his back, Raphael calls him Big Brother and asks if he's a hero, to which the boy says not yet. However, he will definitely become one because he has a dream. Raphael happily says she will cheer for him, and if it's him, she is sure he can do it. She narrates that at that time, she realized that what she felt for the boy was love. From then on, she went to meet with him often. However, on a certain day several months later, she sees a huge clawmark wound on his chest and she panickingly asks what's wrong, and tells him to get a hold of himself. She narrates that when she found the boy collapsed near their hideout, she immediately ran back to the royal castle to call people for help. However, some sort of magic was erasing the healing magic. Therefore, she asked God for help, to help her if she could do something. She thinks that she is not sure if her wish got through to God or not, but the boy, as if by miracle, escaped death. One day, they were sitting somewhere, and Raphael asks if his body is okay already, to which the boy says yes. Therefore, she offers to play again tomorrow. However, the boy replies no, he won't be coming here from tomorrow onward. Raphael asks why, to which the boy says he must go, as an important battle awaits. Raphael insists on taking her with him, but the boy denies it as she will just get in the way. He then brings out something from the pocket and gives it to her. To this, Raphael asks if it's a ring. The boy replies yes and says this is a magical tool called the Ring of Transformation, and it's for her. He will make sure to come out victorious from his battle. That's why he wants her to be patient with this. Raphael wonders if this is a proposal. Just like the heroes in tales, he's probably going to fight the demon lord. She cryingly replies she will always be waiting for him. She narrates that true to his words, the boy stopped coming to the hideout. The tale where the hero defeats the demon lord and saves the world, then marries the princess that the boy told. She had the impression that he was trying to reenact that tale with her and him. So in order to become the ideal princess, she improved her etiquette. She worked on the fundamentals of the word magic she was born with. And as she didn't know where the boy went, she invested most of her focus on detection magic to such an extreme degree that she gained clairvoyance. However, she waited, and so 9 years have passed since. She tried searching for him by using clairvoyance with 0 results. Her anxiety worsened day by day when a certain piece of information reached her ears. A black-haired hero has appeared in the neighboring country of Edel, but that information turned out to be wrong. Now on the present day, Jirei asks what's wrong, as she keeps looking him. She wonders why she didn't notice until now, as there were plenty of odd things. Did she convince herself that he would have a younger appearance? Jirei says if she stares at him too much, she will make him feel embarrassed. He asks if she realized how good-looking he is. To this, Raphael says he really is good-looking. This makes him confused. Then suddenly, she hugs him and says she has finally found her fated person. Jirei narrates it has been a full day since the extermination of the skeleton who self-proclaimed to be one of the 4 heavenly kings of the demon lord's army. The one member of the party who signed up for the quest that seemed on death's door made it as well, and he's recovering in a medical facility. As for the undead infestation that struck Edel, when he purified the city's land, he also altered everyone's memory so that nobody would remember the incident, while the black-haired hero in Edel was jailed for falsifying a hero's mark. And so, peace returned. But there's one problem. Right now he has got one seriously messed up problem on his hands. Raphael proposes him to have their wedding at the largest ceremony hall in the kingdom. At last, they will always be together from now on. She also asks how many children they should have, as she's thinking that they should have a lot to produce heir. He narrates the party members started asking a lot of questions, so he dipped, and he's pretty sure he was sleeping alone at the inn last night. He then nervously asks when she got inside his bed, rather why she's following him around, as she was looking for the black-haired hero or not. Raphael shyly asks why he's asking her that. They are fated to marry one another. Jirei asks what. Then Raphael explains the scar on his chest is the same. The fated person she has been looking for has the same scar as him. Moreover, she asks if he gallantly saved her when he was little and if he don't remember that. Jirei feels tensed as he do not recall that at all. He narrates that she told him about the black-haired boy she used to play with 9 years ago in great detail. He thinks it's a given that he don't remember it. Back then, he was training heat sense together with presence sense. He was wearing a mask that blocked his vision entirely. In order to become a hero, he thought that if he saved some people, the holy mark would appear. He saved a lot of people, but he can't remember every single one of them. When she says that he gave her the ring and went off to fight the demon lord, he thinks he went to participate in an auction for magical tools at the time. He didn't get the tool he set his eyes on though. So, he didn't promise to marry Raphael back then. He saved her for his own sake to become a hero, so it's all a misunderstanding on her part. Raphael says that it's embarrassing for her as he's staring at her like that, to which Jirei asks if she could get away from him and stop adding Sama to his name, so she quickly apologizes for this. She says she will call him dear, but Jirei denies it and says that's not what he meant. After that, he asks what if he tells her that he didn't promise to marry her and wants her to listen to him. He asks what would she do if he said he didn't save her because of some noble reason. Raphael boldly says she would die, as she can't fathom a world without him. She also tells him to not get swayed by any other women except her, and requests to look at her. Jirei thinks she's scary and wonders what he should do. He don't want her to die because of him, but marrying her would be a direct shot to exhausting work as a king. He don't want that, because he wants to be lazy all his life. Jirei tells Raphael that he wants her to do something for him, to which she replies she would do anything. Jirei asks if she could give him back the ring of transformation. She asks why, as this is an engagement ring between him and her and a keepsake for her. However, Jirei knows he didn't intend for it to be like that. He then jumps on her, thinking he's not a fan of doing things like this, but he has no choice. He asks if they will always be together from now on. A thing like that won't be needed anymore. Raphael shyly agrees to it and says of course. He then takes her ring from her finger, saying he will take it back. He will go to the toilet a bit. However, she tells him to wait as she will go too, but Jirei denies it. She says from now on, they will bear everything in front of one another, to which Jirei suggests to do that slowly. Hearing that, Raphael giggles and replies he's right, they will always be together from now on. After all, Jirei gets out of the room and tells her that he will be right back. But in reality, he thinks it's now time to get the hell away. He wants to change his hair color with this ring, but wonders he will run where and remembers if it's Char's place. He thinks it would be bad if he did not let her know what he thought of her snacks. He also remembers that he forgot to ask what they think about the snack. Meanwhile, in a guild, the receptionist calls Kane, to which he apologizes and says he was thinking about something. The receptionist asks if he's fine with it. Kane replies he is. In fact, this is rather a good thing. But the receptionist says to willingly demote himself from B rank to D rank is unprecedented. Kane says that he thought he would stop using this decorative B rank. The receptionist anxiously says C rank would be possible with his swordsmanship, so he don't need to go to D rank. Kane narrates that as a matter of fact, he retook the entry exam at the guild the other day. He had a mock battle against an active duty knight who's also a C rank adventurer, and to his surprise, he had won the fight. He has never tested himself against anyone other than his brothers, who are part of the Imperial Guard. They always took requests above C rank and fought strong monsters, as he never did get to know the extent of his strength. This is a happy miscalculation. However, since he's starting from the ground up, he thought he would begin from the D rank. Having the same rank as Jirei made him happy, because he can't be his companion, but once he has grown stronger, he will be used to him. That time, those words when Jirei told him that he's sure of it. After that, a girl loudly calls Kane, telling him to hurry up. Another girl says the carriage is already leaving. He narrates that after the escort quest to Edel was over, he went around the guild and apologized for causing trouble. He once turned down a party's request to join them, but after lowering his head and asking them again, he was allowed to join. He was anxious whether they would accept him, but they cheerfully let him join them. Kane tells the receptionist that he will be going and leave the matter to her, to which the receptionist tells him to wait. As he left out his family's name in the form, she asks if he's part of the SH Tall's family. But in reply, Kane says there are no problems with that form and starts walking away. However, the receptionist says he still needs to do some paperwork, calling him SHT Laws-sama, but Kane denies it. He replies that he is Kane, just Kane. After that, the first adventure of his new start in life, and his destination is. Meanwhile, in the Rathasvik continent, at Demon Lord's castle, someone is annoyed as it's very late, and wonders what others are doing. Suddenly, Kafs cryingly calls the Demon Lord and requests her to listen to him. The Demon Lord Luna Dulkuker is selected by the Lust Demon Mark, asks why he's crying. And she also told him to not come in here with that appearance. In response, he changes himself with a snap of fingers. Yuri Vastalt Kafs says that it was really bad. Her stock of lives is pretty much gone and it took her a long time to reconstruct herself. Luna asks what about her order, to check out the black-haired hero and buy some sweets while she's there. Yuri says since it was an opportunity, she thought it would be best to gift her everything, as she turned Edel into a city of undead. Hearing that, Luna shockingly asks what. She nervously says this is the worst, to which Yuri asks what's wrong, and if she's surprised at how capable is she. Luna thinks that the hero's case was just a facade. She only wanted to eat some candy. Therefore, she hates this and wants to stop being Demon Lord now. Luna asks about the city. Yuri replies that there was an absurdly strong human that turned people back, and shows Jirei to her. After seeing him, Luna screams as if she's seen a ghost. Yuri asks what's wrong. Luna thinks that this guy, he looks just like the devil she met before she became a Demon Lord. He chased after her for 3 days and nights. She thought she was gonna die, so she's afraid if she meets him again, she will die. Moreover, she didn't really want to be a Demon Lord and don't want to fight, whether it's against a hero, Demon Lord or human. She wants to live peacefully. If she holes herself in this castle, she will just get done in. Luna says she has decided that, from now on she will go on a snack eating tour. On the other hand, somewhere in this world, Luna happily says she has found him. She thinks with that ability to make instantaneous decisions, coupled with frightening strength, if it's that man, then no matter how many times she would try to kill him, he wouldn't break. She thinks he will accept all of her urges and starts laughing like a maniac. As expected, a battle that brings one to the edge of life or death excited her the most. She took on the escort quest to assassinate Raphine. But that mission can wait. What she wants now is to kill Jirei as fast as possible. However, she knows as of now she's no match for him. She don't like it but has to ask for some guidance, if she is not mistaken that person's location was. After that, in front of a city, Jirei says he is here. The country of sorcery called Magicos Maya, where Cain, Luna and the Demon Lord are also going. After that, Jirei narrates that his day begins by going back to sleep again. Even if he experienced some bad things like getting invited to be part of Hero's party, or a princess proposing to him, this instance is where he can forget as it is very comforting. He thinks it is the best, being lazy is the best. However, an elf girl yells at him as it's time to get up. She takes his blanket, and he shivers from cold, thinking just when it was getting good. Now that he think on it, all sorts of things happened, so he wasn't able to get any proper rest. Just when he was lazing about in a cabin out of town, Ready, the hero holding the attack mark, came and invited him to her party for some reason. And when he took on an escort quest to Edel, he had to fight against a skeleton who was a self-proclaimed heavenly king under the demon lord. On top of that, the fourth princess of the Universia kingdom decided for some reason he is her fated person and proposed to him. In order to run away from her, he changed his hair to red with the ring of transformation. He then asked Char, with whom he had a connection and had taken care for him in the past, to shelter him. He ran without rest to this country of sorcery, Magicos Maya. It would take 12 days by carriage, but he made it here in only 2, and he tried his best. And that's why he is little tired now. Jirei then tells the elf girl to wake him up in 3 hours, but she rejects it, saying that he said the same thing yesterday and didn't get up. She then shakes him, telling him to wake up, but he's fast asleep. He says how naive of her to think she could wake him with this level of shaking. He asks if she forgot he has the divine blessing of sleep. On the contrary, it's like a cradle making him sleepy, to which the girl asks if his blessing evolved by the fact he is not waking up at all. Jirei says well spotted, and that's right, as his sleep became eternal sleep. After that, the girl annoyedly tells him to stop fooling around and get up. This time he agrees to it. He thinks that this elf girl who plays along with his jokes is Charon Tetman. She may look young, but her actual age is over 500 years old. She may appear frail, but in the past she was known as the strongest assassin when they met. He was still training to become a hero back then, but due to overhunting and overrunning an ecosystem, he became an assassination target. Moreover, this girl's assassination on him had failed. Just when he was about to finish her off, she started crying about how she didn't want to do assassinations, so he gave her some candy to calm her down. It seems she had never tasted something sweet before, so she took a liking to it, and in the end, she got really attached to him. Right now, Char is a proud owner of a splendid pastry shop by the name of Chartit. Jirei then calls Char and leans in close, and Char asks what. She says she is happy, but it's already late in the day. He then points at her messy hair, and says she got some bed hair, to which Char shyly asks what. She says he is always doing things that are easily misunderstood, so it's a problem for girls when he does that. After that, Char says, speaking of the store, a person with black hair who was as pretty as an angel stopped by. They were asking whether she had seen someone with black hair, but she said she did not. To this, Jirei asks if it's an angel. He nervously starts wondering if it was Raphine, but she has white hair, and she doesn't know he's here, so it must have been someone else. Char says the new product was a huge success. It's all thanks to him for coming up with it. She thanks him for always telling her his opinion on it as well. Jirei replies that he didn't do anything and it's all her, as he knows he only told her what he had once read in a book. She happily says it's fine if he stay here all the time, as he don't need to work and she will take care of everything. To this, Jirei says that's just being a mooch, and he would feel bad for her, therefore, he will work to return what he owes. Char replies she's fine with it. She then brings something out, saying since he like magic tools. She shows it to him, and says it's a ticket for the 57th sorcery tournament of Magicos Maya. The prize is a magic tool, so she thought he would like it. To which Jirei says if it's real he does want it, and asks if it's not open to the public. He must be part of an organization or institution and have a letter of recommendation from them. If he is not, then his adventurer rank or magic power must be at high rank, otherwise he can't participate. He obviously don't fit the criteria for joining. Char replies it clearly says here that this is his ticket, and Jirei takes it to have a look. He sees that it has his name on it, and wonders why it's the Magic Academy, as he don't remember becoming a lecturer or janitor. He asks Char what is this, to which a cat says he will be the one to explain things from here. He calls Jirei and says it's been a while. In reply, Jirei annoyedly asks what's this and why he's here. Jirei narrates that this guy is all the Odas. He's a fairy kin called Katsif, and right now he's the acting principal of the Royal Magic Academy. Aldi then tells Jirei to not say that, as he was invited as a guest. In response, Jirei looks back and asks Char for validity. Char replies yes, she asked Aldi to write him a recommendation. Jirei then takes Aldi out with him, telling her to wait, as he needs to talk to him. After that, he angrily asks Aldi what's going on here, and how it came to him writing a recommendation and him participating in the tournament. Aldi tells him to wait, as he was asked by that girlie, to which Jirei says he's supposedly doing Char a favor, but he's aware of the fact that he don't like participating in these sorts of things. To this, Aldi says maybe in the past, and asks if he has changed now or something. Jirei then angrily tells Aldi to look him in the eyes while saying that. He angrily tells him to cancel it, as this never happened, plus he is not affiliated with the Royal Academy, so he can't enter anyway. He warns Aldi to not go making fake documents. Aldi says from today he is affiliated, and asks if it's fine then, so the tournament is almost here, so until then it is fine with him. Jirei asks about the real reason, to which Aldi says if by some chance he stays with them all of his life, then he will be able to do research on his magic power as he please. To this, Jirei tells Aldi to not mess with him as there's no way he's gonna do it. He says he will tell Char that he won't enter, but Aldi still insists. Jirei narrates now that he thinks back. The first time he met Aldi was 4 years ago. He had just arrived at Magicasama. On one of his hunting trips for stronger monsters, he rescued Aldi from a nearby forest, where he was being attacked by an S-rank magical beast. Once he did, he shouted he has never seen magic like that, and requested him to become a lecturer at his academy. Ever since then, he's been trying to recruit him with an extreme amount of vigor. After a while, it got annoying and he didn't want to become a lecturer, but for a limited time they compromised on him joining as a research assistant. At first, it was super easy with just simple measurements of magical power. However, that quickly devolved into him asking for nail and hair samples. It was too scary. Eventually, he just dipped from there. So, this and that led to this damn cat being one of the people to join his blacklist. Aldi says it makes him happy that they can meet once again like this. It was terrible. As they searched the whole town for a red-haired guy, they thought he died. Jirei realizes that he was wearing a red wig back then for a reason, so that means they don't know his hair is black, hence he don't want to reveal it to them. Jirei says he won't become a lecturer, as he don't like annoying things, to which Aldi says personally, he don't mind if that's what he want, but it's just him though. Jirei asks what does he mean, and suddenly Char comes there and asks if they finished talking. Seeing her, Jirei apologizes and tells her that he is thinking about canceling his tournament entry. Hearing this, Char starts crying and asks what, to which Jirei feels nervous and confused. Char apologizes to him and says she didn't think about him and troubled him. She again apologizes. Then he calls Char and says she didn't really trouble him, as he just don't want to. However, Char again apologizes and says she don't want him to do something he don't like. Aldi pats his shoulder and asks about him. In response, Jirei loudly says just kidding, as it was a joke. He will enter the thing for real. To this, Char cheerfully says here she thought she really bothered him. Meanwhile, Aldi is enjoying this situation, and Jirei is sweating from nervousness. Then Aldi congratulates him on becoming a lecturer, and they welcome him with open arms. Jirei narrates, and so his position as a lecturer and a participant was cemented. After that, somewhere in Magi Cosmea Magic Academy, Jirei is enjoying the refreshing breeze and the warmth of the sun. He says that's the best life can offer, so he's glad he's alive. If we are wondering why he's lazing about on the academy grounds, that's because he can't participate in the tournament unless he's affiliated with the academy. They tried to make him a lecturer, but teaching all of a sudden was impossible, so he's now here as a janitor. There are magic tools scattered all over these huge academy grounds that activate, clean, and mend. Therefore, his job is to supply those tools with mana. These tools require a huge amount of mana. Normally, one can fill it over a course of 15 days, but that does not apply to him, and he was done with it yesterday. So, he has done what he needed to do, and he has got an official permit to slack off. He feels glad as he didn't have to do any lectures. While he gets paid for sleeping, he thinks it's the best. After that, nearby, a lady teacher loudly tells her student that they need to attend the lecture. In reply, a student says they really don't feel like going to a lecture like that one. He tells the teacher to not mind them and go elsewhere. Jirei then hides and wonders if they are the students of the academy and if they are the problem child that skips lecture. However, as he was sleeping, he wants to go tell them to slack off somewhere else. A boy then sits on the bench and tiredly says, as she is away now, he can now concentrate. However, after reading the book, he frustratedly asks who brought this book as it's way too difficult. The girl yells at Lud as if it wasn't him who was holding that white magic book and told them to come with him. Just because he don't realize his stupidity does not mean he gets to lodge complaints at them. Ludas asks Sino if she just called him stupid and if she understands this. Another girl asks would not it be better if they taught them, to which Ludas asks if she's talking about lecturers that gives them textbook lessons. He will get better results studying by himself. A girl with spectacle says even if they asks father and the others to teach them high-level magic, they refuse them. Hearing them, Jirei thinks that he thought they were slacking off, but it's the other way around, as they are studying. But if they are that enthusiastic about it, they might have a goal they want to reach. After that, Ludas throws the book angrily saying he don't get it, and asks if there's anyone well-versed in magic who's not a lecturer that could teach them. Jirei thinks it's got nothing to do with him. Ludas asks if won't it be fine if they just force it, because even if they fail, they should be fine. To this, the others tensively objects the idea. Ludas says it will be fine, and does some kind of magic on his arm. He uses high heel magic, and says it worked. He calls himself a genius, and suddenly his arm falls off. He panickingly asks what's this, and a girl screams from fear. Seeing that, Jirei gets shocked and asks what they are doing. He thinks that it's dangerous to use magic without understanding its properties, because what would happen if someone uses healing magic on a healthy body? The input mana loses its purpose, and the excess healing causes necrosis. Then he uses high heel magic and Sino orders to call the teacher. Suddenly, Ludas's arm joins back, and he confusedly says his arm is back. Ludas asks what was that, to which a girl says it looked like magic was used and asks who was it. On the other hand, Jirei prones down thinking it's his time to get away before they spot him, because if they find him they will probably ask him to teach them and that's too much work. The next day, Ludas tells Jirei he will surely win against him, and demands to teach them magic. And Sino asks if a person with such muddy eyes really saved them because he don't look strong. Jirei wonders that in the end, various things happened and it was decided that he would have a duel with the students. After he healed the arm, the students went to see the principal, and apparently explained the situation to that damn cat Aldi. He came to the conclusion that only Jirei was able to do that, and they requested he teach them magic. He refused but reluctantly. If the students met a few conditions, then he would do it. So he tells the students just like he promised, if they are able to wound him even a little in 3 minutes, then he will teach them magic. However, if they are unable to, then they will not get involved with him any further. Ludas replies they get it and calls Jirei an old man. He also tells him to not take them lightly. Jirei says he's 18 and tells Ludas to stop calling him old. Hearing that, the students confusedly ask if he's for real, as they thought he's 26, and if he's aging too fast. After that, Ludas says he will go first, to which Jirei tells him to wait. It would be too easy if they went one by one, so he tells them to come all at once. Hearing that, Ludas angrily says that he's underestimating him, so he will make sure he regret that. He then chants with his sword that a raging gale that burns fiercely, consuming all, atop the heavens. The second son of the royal family commands the sword to incinerate his enemy with the unquenchable flames of the purgatory. He then throws Vinto Igni's flame magic at Jirei. The attack hits him but Ludas gets confused seeing him, as he's not injured. Another girl says he deal with Ludas's magic very easily. Jirei thinks that was a high-level attack-oriented fire magic. He gets it why he's acting so carefree, but it's far from enough. Ludas then tells the others if it's like that, they are gonna do that. After that, all of them come together and chant something. Jirei shockingly realizes that it is combination magic. He explains it's a magic where people connect multiple different elemental spells to attack. Not only they to understand the formula, but also have precise magic control. The students then prepares to attack, but one of their magic broke. Jirei then tells them that their casting is too slow and asks if they think the enemy will wait for them. He leaves a deep breath and says he guesses that's that. However, Ludas sneakily tries to attack Jirei with a big weapon and apologizes about the surprise attack. In response, Jirei calls him naive and deflects Ludas's attack with only using his arm. Jirei says so that large-scale combination magic was to set up this ambush. They are actually using their heads. Ludus replies it's not over, to which Jirei says it's over. He looks at the clock and says 3 minutes are up, and that means he has won. Hearing this, Ludus feels sad, and a girl says as expected, it was too much for them. Jirei then calls them and asks one thing, why they are learning magic. He narrates that according to them, they are all in very high societal positions due to being daughters and sons of high nobility. They want to become adventurers in the future and explore the wide world. So they are learning magic to gain power. They don't want to be used as political tools in a marriage, or as spares if something happened to the firstborn son or daughter. As a problem child with the same worries, they decided to form a party. They want to go on an exciting adventure and help each other out. After hearing it, Jirei feels like he should not have asked them. He tells them that he will teach them a bit, but they should not get the wrong idea. This is for his own sake, and he is not doing this for them at all, because seeing them become adventurers without any skills and die a dog's death would make him feel bad. Hearing that, the students happily calls him teacher and asks how he erased the magic earlier. Also, they request to teach them healing magic. Jirei tells them to speak one at a time and stop calling him teacher, as he will teach them, and requests to be quiet. After that in the classroom, Jirei was teaching the students and asks if they got it. Ludus says he didn't get it, and Sino requests to explain it in more detail. Jirei feels like being a lecturer is a total pain. He then calls Ludus and asks if he wants to learn the fundamentals of why he came out unscathed in their duel. He explains that the output of his body reinforcement magic was so overwhelmingly more powerful than his attack that it got cancelled. The result might change depending on magic resistance or attribute compatibility. To put it in simpler terms, the stronger magic will win, to which Ludus says body reinforcement is a beginner level spell, and why his advanced level spell failed. Jirei says that's because he is too caught up in chanting. Originally, magic used to be something more free than it is now. For example, he opens the window and casts a fireball in his palm, and throws the fireball out of the window, turning into a massive explosion which shocks Ludus. Jirei says just like that, people have the misunderstanding that beginner magic is weak, as long as someone's mana output is high. Even this magic has a lot to offer. It can even be used to repel advanced level magic. And he guesses that they will stop at that for today. However, Sino tells him to wait, and Jirei asks what is it, as he won't answer anything outside of class. And also, he told her to not call him a teacher. Senis replies it's not that, and points at the damage caused by the fireball, and asks what he will do about that. Jirei nervously says what indeed. He narrates that in the end, it became a massive incident. It was decided that he will need to reimburse the school sum of 30 million rein. After that, somewhere Jirei was walking depressedly saying he wants money. He needs to come up with 30 million rein in 10 days. He has to win the magic tournament at all costs. He realizes he has to pay from his prize, because trying to win sounds like a pain in the back. But for now he needs food, and wonders if there ain't a place where money flows infinitely. Eve sitting on a bench nearby tells him to be quiet. Jirei apologizes, and says long time no see, to which Eve asks if he's trying to change his image. He asks back if it's his hair color suits him well. Eve boldly replies it doesn't at all. She then asks why he is here. Jirei replies that a lot of things happen, but he is entering the magic tournament. Until that's done, he is working here. He asks what about her and the heroes party, or if they kicked her out, to which Eve says she didn't get kicked out, she's a graduate of this place. He asks if she's only visiting, to which Eve explains that the principal called her to teach white magic. He realizes it sounds horrible, and thinks that damn cat tries to make anyone they like a lecturer. Jirei then asks if she didn't get kicked out from the party, then what about Lena and Reddy? Eve says Reddy was quickly summoned to Grand Hero to fight monsters, and Lena's whereabouts since then are unknown, as she left the register. He realizes that Reddy is fighting monsters, so as long as he don't go to any dangerous locations, he won't run into her, because a hero's job certainly is tough. And for Lena, he thinks she's probably the one that tried to kill the princess, although he didn't has any proof. Eve says that you never see his princess asked her if she knew where he went. She asks if he did something. To this, Jirei nervously says nothing, he don't remember, and he wonder why. Hearing that, Eve suspiciously stares at him. Jirei calls her and says it would be great if she did not tell them where he is. So to keep her mouth shut, she asks for money, and Jirei offers her some as a gift. She says that she is kidding, she won't say anything as it's troublesome. Jirei realizes that she can crack a joke too. He says he knew from the get-go she had no desire, and Eve says she will tell them. He bows down in front of her asking for forgiveness, to which Eve says she won't say anything to them, and tells him to stop that. He then nervously says he's glad, and asks if it's a promise. Eve replies she gets it. After that, Jirei asks if she could make some room for him to sit, as he always eats his lunch here by himself. Eve says she was here first, so if he don't like it, he can go somewhere else. However, Jirei still sits beside her telling her to excuse him. As he is eating awkwardly, a silence follows. He feels like this is very awkward. He sees that she stopped reading, and wonders if it's her lunch time. Also, he wonders if she's a light eater as she's very thin. After that, Eve brings a lot of meal boxes for her, which shocks him. She then starts eating, thanking God for the food. Jirei is amazed by this as she has an amazing stomach. Eve shyly tells him to stop looking at her, to which he realizes and apologizes to her. However, she is still eating and Jirei sees that she's eating super fast. Eve then again tells him to not look. He thinks that the bad mood continues. There's still time left, but he don't see any point in moving away now. He then brings out a pair of boots, thinking he will be in his own world of time. He will distract himself by tinkering with magic tools. After that, he confusedly murmurs that how he maintains these, as he totally forgot. Eve notices it and asks if those are wind boots, to which Jirei says that's right. She then leans into the boots and puts her hand near it. She tells him to firstly insert his mana there. She adds that if he don't activate it like this, he can't do maintenance, otherwise it will break. Jirei is a bit confused by this and thanks Eve, as he must admit she is well informed, and asks if she got the magic tool mana as well. Eve asks if he got it too. Both of them then stare at each other silently, and suddenly get up to shake hands. Jirei says, speaking of which, the hero birthday festival is here. He asks if she applied to attend the artifact show, as he applies every year but they never accepted him. He narrates that he is not familiar with the Hero Birthday Festival, but apparently the Magic Cosmea created it to honor heroes. The hero had red hair, so on the day of the festival the town people put on red wigs to celebrate, and there are all sorts of events going on. Eve opens her bag and brings out something that astonishes him. He unbelievably asks if she got these pair of tickets to the artifact show. Eve replies the organizer is someone she knows, so they gave these to her. He yells that by gaining tickets illegally, she's putting herself as a magic tool enthusiast to shame. He then bows down and says he has no intention of going to that show through such disgusting means, to which Eve replies that his words and actions don't match. She says she don't mind giving him a ticket. However, she will give it to him, but in exchange for a transaction. Jirei replies there's no problem, as she can name it and he will do it. She says she wants him to go shopping with her, to which he gets shocked. He says he understands, and Eve replies she wants to buy clothes, because she is also a girl, she cares about fashion. Jirei replies no, it's not surprising at all, as he was thinking. Besides, Eve says this is only for Rei to see, to which Jirei asks about Rei. Eve replies Rei is the person she loves. He asks if a ticket is really okay, as he guesses she was planning to go with him. Eve says she was planning to go, but she don't think she can go this year. Jirei understands the situation as it seems like there are some complicated circumstances going on, so he guesses it's okay if he just goes shopping with her. Then, he suggests going right after class. Eve replies yes, as he has to pay for everything she buy, which terrifies him. He points at himself and asks if she means him, to which Eve says yes. He feels anxious as he don't have money right now, but if he can get a ticket that are sold at a high price among magic enthusiasts, he may never have another chance like this. Therefore, he says that's fine, but not right now. Eve then turns around and requests him to go shopping with her after the magic tournament, to which Jirei replies understood. He got it. After that, he was walking somewhere crying and wondering what he should do, because he don't think 35,000 rain is going to be enough. Moreover, he has debt to Aldi as well. Just winning the prize money from the magic tournament might not be enough. He don't have that much time before the tournament, and low-rank missions don't pay that much. He thinks maybe he can borrow from Char, but he also don't want her to spoil him. Then he suddenly notices that there is someone behind Char's store. He thinks it's odd at this time of night because Charted should already be closed. Meanwhile, Yuri tells Demon Lord Luna that she's almost there, to which Luna tells her that she told her to not be so loud. Yuri loudly replies yes, she understands. Luna again says no, as she said, and Jirei wonders what they are doing. She then leans in close to the back window saying she's close to paradise, even though they are disguised themselves as humans. They were forced to sneak in, so she can't afford to give up. Yuri then tells Luna to fight, and asks why don't she break the wall instead. If it's okay, she will do it, to which Luna says that's why she is saying no, as she told her to never cause harm to humans. Suddenly, Jirei calls them and Luna screams from panic. She says it's not what it looks like, as she's not a thief. After seeing him, she remembers her past and calls him a demon. Out of fear, she crawls away panickingly and screams. To this, Yuri tells her to calm down, as this human's eyes are cloudy, but he don't have black hair, it might be a different person. Luna then gets up and says it's true. Jirei asks what they are doing, and they are being rude to him. More than that, it's them that open the window, and asks if they have anything to say. Luna replies that's because she forgot to close the window. He asks if it could be that she's an employee, because that would make sense. Luna replies that's right, as she's an employee. However, he says that's odd, because he is an acquaintance of the manager of this place, and he don't recall seeing an employee like her before. Hearing that, Luna panickingly says he set her up, and Yuri says he is a human with high intelligence. She adds that here is the demon lord who will one day rule the world and overrun everything, and humans like him are destined to be livestock. In response, Jirei shockingly stares at them. Luna then holds Yuri's mouth and says she told her to stop that. She asks how many times she told her to call her Luna and not Demon Lord. Jirei wonders if they are playing a game or something, because a long time ago he used to play hero. He notices their beautiful face and tattered clothes, and judges that they might be the daughters of some fallen noble. In any case, they don't look happy. Jirei then calls them and tells them to wait a minute. After some time, he brings out a sweets basket for them. He asks if they wanted these snacks. He will give them this and tells them to hurriedly go home, as it's late and their parents will be worried. Luna satisfiedly asks if she can have it, as that's too much. Jirei thinks if he tells Char later, it should be okay, but she did say he was free to take sweets from the store. He was even given a duplicate key for the back of the store. Luna says he is a good guy and she will never forget this favor. She adds that she can give him some money, to which Jirei says he don't need money and warns them to not steal again. She then happily says she wanted to eat it once before she died. She has been standing in line since morning many times, but she didn't win the lottery and couldn't buy any candy. She lost her wallet and had to sell her clothes, as she thought it was the only way. Jirei realizes they were more unfortunate than he thought. She says humans are good people, and they are different from the black demon. However, Yuri angrily asks if it's possible for him to gain the favor of the demon lord. After that, they bid goodbye, and Luna says she wants to meet again, red-haired person, as she owes him a debt in the name of Luna Dulk Eucharis, and she will never forget this for the rest of her life. Suddenly, he realizes something and thinks he's forgetting something. He has to do something about the money. He wonders what he should do, and remembers it's a big magic tournament, so he wants to participate in the gambling. He then goes running and calls Luna and Yuri. He says he would like them to pay back the debt they owe to him. The next morning somewhere in the city, Jirei says there's magic brooms manufactured by Matita, wagons pulled by creatures created from magic. As one would expect from a magic country, no matter where she look, magic is being used. Spirits are gathering because of the magic and atmosphere. Char tells him that he don't come to Magicosmia very often. There's a yatai stand selling hero-shaped manju, and she wants to eat some. To this, Jirei says there's a long line. If she wants to go, she can go, as he has to go to the reception desk for the tournament. Char replies that maybe she will stop them, as she won't be able to go with him. After that, Jirei says it's really amazing, as the Magicosmia Magic Tournament is going to start soon. He wonders what kind of people will be participating, and who his first opponent will be. However, he is determined to do anything for money and wants to win. After that in the stadium, the receptionist tells Jirei he is a participant of the 57th Magicosmia Magic Tournament, so she requests him to present his entry ticket and fill out the registration form. Jirei thinks that he is in a lot of trouble because he don't have any money. He was initially reluctant to participate in this tournament, but he has to make money somehow. The receptionist asks what name he will use for the tournament, as he can register using his real name. But Jirei feels nervous because he thinks that would be a big problem. So he hesitantly says there are people he don't want finding him, to which the receptionist says she understands, and suggests choosing a nickname. He wonders if it's okay for him to pick a name randomly, then he will take Rei as his name. Hearing that, the receptionist nervously says she thinks it's better to avoid using the same name as Rei Sama. He confusedly asks what she means. The receptionist gets shocked and asks if he don't know about the hero Rei who saved Magicosmia. Jirei thinks now that he thinks about it. Eve also said she liked Rei, but as it's a common name, it doesn't matter. Jirei says then he will go by Ryuji, and the receptionist says the registration is complete. The tournament schedule will be announced at noon today. She then gives him a box saying it's a lottery for a random magic tool as a participation's prize. To this, Jirei feels amazing and wonders what he will get and presses the button. After that, a prize comes out and the receptionist says it's a jackpot. The SSS prize Hanimgain glasses. She adds that this is a magic tool that was custom made by Princess Alina, the organizer of this event. She tells Jirei to try it in. However, he sadly asks what does this tool do and if it has any special effect. She replies that there is nothing special about it other than its strong effect on durability and self-repair to prevent it from breaking. He says that he definitely don't need it. In the end, he was forced to take this, and the receptionist said he didn't have to wear it to the tournament. Meanwhile, Kane and his crew is applying. The receptionist apologizes for the inconvenience as the conditions for participation was not met and got voided. The other members are tensed by this. Jirei then looks at them and wonders if something's going on there. He looks at Kane and thinks he has seen him somewhere before. Kane also sees him and calls him master. On the other hand, Jirei was wearing those weird-looking glasses to cover himself, which confuses Kane. One of his teammates then asks Kane what's wrong, to which he says it seems he mistook someone, as he had red hair, and Master would not do such strange things. Meanwhile, Jirei thinks it's dangerous and wonders why Kane is here and why he called him Master. He feels like he never thought the glasses would be useful. While walking, he suddenly bumps with Lena and apologizes to her. In reply, Lena asks if they have met before, to which he says he is sure it's her imagination and runs away from there. After that, a girl calls Lena asking if she's okay. She wishes her good luck and says if she wins, as her master, she will receive a lot of research funds. After a silence, she again asks what's wrong, to which Lena says she wonders if the guy passed by was Jirei, but he was wearing weird glasses and didn't have black hair. She gigglingly says even if they meet here, she can't win as she has to challenge him after she gets stronger, because she can't kill him. Jirei then in a safe zone says he needs to run away as soon as everything is finished. After that, a girl on a flying broom announces that they will be starting the 57th Magicosmea Magic Tournament. They will begin with knockout matches in black from E to D. The winners of each block will face off in a round-robin tournament. Competitive battlefield has been activated on the stage. Injuries they suffer during the match will be healed once it's over. Therefore, they hope all participants to fight to their heart's content. The organizer of this tournament, Princess Alina, would like to give words of encouragement to all the participants. Hearing this, Jirei realizes Alina is the one that made these glasses, so he wonders what kind of person she is. After that, Alina wishes good day to everyone. She says she is Alina Tidmid Noblest, the 6th princess of Magicosmea. First of all, she would like to take this opportunity to express her gratitude, as it's an honor for her to take part in the traditional magic tournament as organizer of this event. Jirei wonders if she's more of a princess than he thought. Alina then looks beside and tells everyone to wait a moment. She calls her maid Stika and tells her to come to her. She asks what it says as she can't read it because it's hard. Stika apologizes and says it must have been difficult for her. Next time, she will write in a way that is easy enough for a baby to read. Alina yells at her if she just made fun of her. Stika replies she didn't, as she was telling the truth. Alina replies that's even worse. The maid shows her the corrections and Alina coughs. After that, she says it is an honor for her to take part in the traditional magic tournament as organizer of this event. All participants in the tournament to be respectful to their opponents. She requests them to come with a noble spirit and soul, as that's more than enough. The announcer then thanks Alina for her words of encouragements. However, Jirei thinks he knew she would be a weird one. The announcer then says they are pleased to announce the competitors of the first match of Block A. With the recommendation from the principal of the Royal Magic Academy, it's D-rank adventurer Ryuji. And last year's winner and this year's favorite to win, the clan master of Valiant Warrior, Sengoku Grand Laobuste. From the stands, Char and the students are cheering for Jirei. Jirei notices that Char and the students are here. More importantly, Luna and Yuri are also there, so he hopes everything works out. The announcer then begins the match. After that, Sengoku tells Jirei to withdraw, as he can't beat him, to which Jirei says they won't know unless they try. Sengoku says to not get him wrong, as he's thinking of him when he's saying this, because competitive battlefield may heal his wounds, but it won't erase the fear implanted in his heart. Jirei apologizes and says he can't withdraw, because he can't afford to lose. Sengoku murmurs that he can't believe he is challenging him without hesitation, as he has fighting spirit which he likes. Then he will respond to his bravery, and hereby pledges to give it all in the name of Grand Lobbyist. After that, he dashes towards Jirei with his big sword. Jirei dodges his attack, to which Sengoku asks if he's just dodging, and tells him to attack him. His face is also carefree, so he asks if he's making fun of him. Jirei thinks that before the tournament, he met those two girls who tried to steal sweets and asked them for a favor. Back then, Luna asks if there's going to be gambling taking place during the magic tournament, and Yuri asks if he wants them to bet all on him. Jirei replies yes, the rules of the tournament don't allow participants to place bets, so he needs them to bet for him, and of course, he will give them the shares. To this, Luna asks if that sounds like cheating. Jirei replies it's okay, as it's not against the rules. Luna says that she don't know if he will win, and this is all the money they have. However, Yuri insists Luna to do it, as this man just has to win only, and if he loses, she will turn him into mincemeat. Jirei says it's fine, as he will wager a little himself, and it doesn't matter if the total is small, because it's about how they bet. Therefore, he has a little plan. In current timeline, Jirei was dodging the attacks and says he was just thinking. The odds for this match are 30 to 1 of him winning the fight, so if he bet 45,000 rein, he will get 1.35 million rein. He knows it's a lot of money but not enough, as Sengoku is the favorite to win. Naturally, the next match will have lower odds. Therefore, the more he keeps winning after this, the more trouble he is in. Sengoku asks what he is mumbling about and where the confidence that he can win came from. Jirei replies that the point is this different from betting on a single match. He asks if he knows that there's bets on who will make it past the block. If him, a D-rank adventurer, makes it through, what does he think the odds will be, and how much does he think he could make betting 45,000 rein? Hearing that, Sengoku angrily says he's talking nonsense and he don't know. Jirei points his finger at him and tells the correct answer. He says it's 2025.778 times, and by betting 45,000, he will make about 91 million rein, and Sengoku loses from the explosion. After that, the announcer says it's a surprise, as the winner of the match is Ryuji. After that, somewhere else, Jirei was laughing like evil and says it's just as planned. Luna was amazed by all the money they got. She says she didn't know he was that strong, as he beat them all with one hit. Jirei narrates that on the second day of the tournament, he was able to get past Blocka smoothly. As soon as the match started, he shot his opponent with Magic Bullet, ending it instantly before they could feel pain. He started to be called Magic Bullet Ryuji and got supported by reporters. He also took advantage of a gap and fled to this inn. Yuri says if they had this much money, she would buy a lot of cute dresses for Demon Lord Sama, or maybe she would build a house for the two of them. She tells Luna to bet all the money on tomorrow's matches. However, Jirei replies there's no gambling on the last day of the tournament. He then takes his share of the money, but Luna tells him to wait as he's taking less than them. She asks if he ain't the one competing. To this, Jirei says he got their help this time, as he could not have done it without them, so he's fine with it. He thinks with 35 million, he should be able to pay his debt to the academy and go shopping with Eve. He asks why don't they use that money to buy clothes, sweets, or whatever they want. If they had that money, then they would not need to steal like before. Luna replies that he is really a good guy. Yuri then pulls Luna to get right to it, and Luna tells her to stop pulling her clothes. She will rip them. After that, Luna says they will be on their way, and she hopes to see him again, as he can let them know if there's anything they can do. Jirei replies he is looking forward to it, and bids them farewell. He narrates on the last day of the tournament, the round-robin competition among the 4 finalists has begun. Since he already had the money be needed, he could have forfeited, because the prize of winning the tournament is a magic tool. The collector's soul in him really wants it, as he won both the first round matches and second round matches. Lena was participating in Block B, but she forfeited midway, and he's really glad he didn't have to fight her. His final opponent is currently tied with him for first place, and this match will determine the winner. His opponent is a girl who is about 16 years old. She starts the match by engulfing the arena in a black mist, and he heard her opponents don't remember how they lost, hence, he can't let his guard down. After that, the announcer announces to begin the match. The girl then says it's nice to meet him and asks if he's Ryuji. She introduces herself as Enro, and requests him to be gentle as she's a young lady. Jirei gets confused if he heard her first impression to be wrong. He replies alright and they shake hands. Suddenly, Enro does something and Jirei pulls his hand back. He thinks that except for when he's sleeping, he is protected by body strengthening so he should not feel any pain. but there's an electric current that ran through his brain, so he wonders what's going on. Henry then calls this a shame and says she was close, but she guesses that's the way it is. She tells the referee that she's surrendering this match as she can't win here. Jirei gets confused by that. Henry turns around and says if they meet again somewhere, she proposes to have their time and have a nice talk. She then smiles and wishes to see him later. The announcer announces that the winner is D-rank adventurer Ryuji, and Jirei confusedly asks what is this. After that, somewhere in a room, Jirei says he don't know why, but he won. He is happy to win the prize money and get the magic tool. He was told to wait here. Also, it seems that there is someone who would like to talk to him. Someone then comes and thanks Ryuji for waiting. She apologizes for the inconvenience and introduces herself as Alina Timid Noblest, 6th Princess of Magicosmea. She proposes to get to know each other from now on. Seeing her, Jirei gets nervous. He wonders why it's the princess. He then thanks her for the visit, but Alina tells him to drop the honorific speech. She says there's no need for such things between them from now on, to which Jirei says that's not how it works. Alina then leans in close to him and tells him to not worry about it. She calls him Ryuji-sama first, then corrects herself, calls him Jirei Lero-sama. She says that she will make him her husband. Hearing that, Jirei displays a shocked reaction, and Alina says she is saying she will make him her husband, and asks if he is so happy that he can't even speak. Jirei replies that he's not happy, and he didn't know what that even means. He asks if he can get the prize money and magic tool, as he's tired and wants to go home. Alina says he don't have to be shy, and asks if he does. However, Jirei says no thanks, to which Alina angrily asks why, if she ain't an extremely beautiful girl. Jirei says he can't disagree, but he don't think he will marry her just because she has a pretty face. As this is the first time they met, Alina replies they can get to know each other after the wedding. He further says there's no benefit for him, to which Alina says there are benefits. Once they get married, he will be able to enjoy her voluptuous body of her. Hearing that, he looks at her melons and gets confused about her voluptuous body. He thinks as someone who loves magic tools he can tell and uses imperial appraisal. He sees her stats that her equipped melons area is triple a cup. He asks aren't they flat as board. To this, Alina embarrassedly asks what he just said and calls him a pervert. She yells that she knows they are small, but he called them flat as a board even though his eyes are cloudy. Her maid Stika tells her to calm down and says it's true her melons are small, but she's alive and well. She adds that she is an H-cup, to which Alina says that's not comforting at all. After that, Alina says she understands he don't want to marry her, but she's unwilling to give up. Currently, within the royal palace of Magicosmea, a succession between the royal families has begun. Her father has declared, whomever brings a person with the most magic power skills in various types of magic and strength will inherit the throne. Jirei asks if she wanted to talk to him because he won the tournament. Alina replies that's right. In addition, if it's him, he might be able to deal with that abomination, the demon that pulls their hearts. Stika then tells her to not speak too much, as that is still an unverified information. Jirei wonders what's going on, and if there was an incident. Alina beggingly says that he's all she has now, to which Jirei says even so he don't want to get married. Stika nods and says that's right, as he is the only one Alina can count on now. She has been skipping lessons for a long time and can't use beginner magic, and even she's also invited to dance at the ball. She behaves suspiciously and makes big mistakes. She planned to stay alone for the rest of her life and spend her life lazing around in the palace, but the king scolded her and was going to force her to marry a stiff noble, so she wanted to find someone who would be easier to marry. For such a helpless lady, he's all she has left. However, Jirei still says he refuse. He absolutely refuse. Alina then starts crying and says she will do something about that, and begs to reconsider, but Jirei says it's absolutely impossible. Alina says she understands and gives up, to which Jirei asks if she finally gave up. Well, he will be going home, and tells them to hurry up and get his prize money and magic tool, to which she replies that she will give it up. Suddenly, she snaps her finger and some adventurers get in the room, and Alina tells him to not think he can leave here for free. Jirei says he noticed there were people lurking around the room for a while. Alina replies it's as expected of him, and they were even using interference magic and disguise magic. They are the best anti-magicians, and asks how about now if it's impossible to marry her, because she will help him out if he changes his mind. Stika says that's a nice touch, because if she actually did that, it would be a crime, but it's just a threat. She calls this a nice performance, and Alina asks why she's saying that. Meanwhile, Jirei asks if he can go home. thinking that it doesn't look like he is going to get the magic tool, and it's troublesome. But it can't be helped as he did not want to use this. After that, he uses teleportation magic and vanishes from the room, which shocks others. Somewhere else, he was kneeling down on the ground calling it disgusting, as he feels like throwing up. His body is stiff and sore. He narrates that teleportation is one of the most useful, but hardest to learn and use dimensional magic types. For some reason he feels sick after using it. He wonders if it's really hard to move a short distance. No matter how many times he has used this, it's still like this. He realizes that in the end, he didn't get the prize money, hence, he don't want to go back and see her again. And worst case scenario, he will bill Aldi later. After that, a straw hat girl walking nearby calls Jirei and says he looks really pale. She asks if he's okay. Jirei turns around and says he is okay, just feeling a little sick, and he gets terrified seeing her. The girl replies if that's the case she's glad, as she was very worried. He sees the beautiful girl with white hair and wonders if it's Raphine. He wonders if she has noticed him yet. Jirei then tries to dip, but the girl tells him to wait. She shows a picture of him and says she is looking for someone. She would like to know if he has seen anyone with these characteristics. Jirei replies he hasn't, to which the girl says that's unfortunate. She further says if he sees him, she wants him to tell him this. At that time, her thoughts and feelings of the past 9 years ran wildly out of control. She was putting her own feelings first without considering Jirei's feelings, hence she's really sorry. It was selfish to say that she wanted him to love her and only her, but for an attractive and charming gentleman as Jirei, it's inevitable that various women would be attracted to him. But she wonders what it's like to spend time under the same roof with a woman one is not even married to. She asks if he can tell him that, and Jirei replies okay. Raphine says they hope to meet again and says one more thing. She congratulates him on winning the Mangacaps magic tournament, as it was very cool. It was really wonderful. After all, she Raphine Ophium Refinado was able to reaffirm herself that there is only one person she would marry. She finally bids farewell and calls him Jirei-sama. After that, Jirei tensely wonders what he should do and why Raphine is in Mangacaps. He narrates that after the tournament ended, Princess Alina asked him to marry her, so he ran away. At that time, Raphine was there. Even though she knew who he was, she let him leave, and he don't know anything about a maiden's heart. He looks around wondering if he's being followed as it's scary, seeing him like that. Eve asks what's wrong, if he wants to quit, but Jirei replies there's no problem, and thinks that today he is going shopping with Eve. In exchange, he will get tickets for the artifact show, so he just has to endure today. Afterwards, he tells Eve that there are some people he don't want finding him. Hence, he is using disguise magic. To this, Eve says if he don't want to be found that badly, so why don't he change his face as well? To which Jirei replies that he didn't like to change his face too much, because it changes his senses and makes him feel weird. Also, he likes his face and asks if he's good looking or not, to which Eve says only if his eyes were not so cloudy, and asks if he needs something to hide his face, and she checks her bag. She gives him a knight armor which makes him speechless. After wearing it, he says it's lighter than expected and asks if it's a costume, as she didn't have to go out of her way for this, to which Eve says because it's cool. Then, they continue their shopping journey. She points to a shop wanting to go there. Jirei says it's more normal than he thought it would be. In reply, Eve asks if he thought it would be more upscale. Jirei says he thought she was going to force him to buy a lot of branded goods. He knows that is why he worked so hard to earn money. Eve then inspects dresses and says just because something is expensive does not mean it's good. She goes inside the changing room and says she will try this one. She also requests to let him know what he thinks. After that, she trials one and asks how it is. Jirei replies he thinks it looks good. She trials another one and asks about it, to which Jirei says looks good and asks doesn't it. In reply, Eve menacingly asks if there ain't more to say and requests him to answer seriously. Jirei says he is being serious as he don't know anything about fashion, and honestly all looks the same to him. Then she will dress more clearly. She then wears a white dress. Jirei replies she looks like a formal young lady. Eve then wears a tomboy dress, to which Jirei says it's a bit boyish. After that, she wears a maid dress and cat costume, to which Jirei says it's cute like Aldi. Eve then menacingly asks why he gave half-hearted responses to others, but called this one cute. It's absolutely strange. She says that's enough and asks which one is the best. Jirei replies the first one she tried, and Eve says she will buy that one then. Jirei then asks if that's all she wants, because he would be happy to buy them all if she wants. Eve replies she was originally going to have him buy just one, so it's okay. After the shopping they went outside, and Jirei asks if she's really okay with just that. To this, Eve says like she said it's okay, as she wasn't expecting much. Moreover, she thinks Rei would say the same thing. Jirei asks if this is the end of it, and asks for the tickets, to which Eve says she is fine with these clothes. But since she is here, she wants to see the city. Jirei replies they originally agreed to go shopping together, but he don't mind. Eve then holds his hand and proposes to go. After that, they roam around the city, they see magic tricks, plays with dogs, visits haunted games, ride on broomstick, and Eve buys an ice cream with 5 scoops. After all of this, Jirei says he is tired. While sitting on a bench, Eve apologizes to him and says it must have been boring for him. Jirei says he don't think so, as it's just that he had a lot of new experiences. He was accompanying her today, so what matters is if she had fun, and asks how it was. Eve agrees to it and says it was fun. Jirei says that's fine, as it's best for people to do as they like. After hearing it, she realizes something and thanks him. Jirei asks what they should do next, to which Eve says she's hungry and wants to have a meal. She points in a direction saying she knows a place but her finger is bleeding. In response, Jirei quickly uses healing magic, but Eve stops him. She says she's fine and tells him to not use it. Jirei still insists, but Eve licks it and says licking is enough to heal it. Seeing that, Jirei gets confused. He thinks it's like there wasn't even an injury, and he didn't feel her using magic. He believes maybe she was secretly using recovery magic. Eve then says he must be tired. She tells him to wait here and she will buy some food. After that, he takes off the helmet thinking it's sure to take off the armor. Suddenly, he overhears someone saying they heard the demon appeared again. The guy says this time it was behind a store on a Lictorian road, to which another replies again, the knights should hurry up and catch them. Jirei thinks only a demon could pull out a child's heart like that. He hopes someone does something about it soon, and also wishes to Rei the hero was here at a time like this. He finds it disturbing, and Eve says he looks scary, so she asks if something happened. Jirei denies it and seeing her feast, he asks if ain't that a lot. After that, they eat the food and Eve thanks God for the meal. Jirei gets shocked as he don't know how she eats that much. Eve then thanks him for today and gives him the tickets, to which Jirei happily thanks her back. He says he will stay with her for the rest of the day, and as it's getting late, he should walk her home. Eve says before that, there is one more place she wants to go. While walking, Eve tells him to not move for a bit as there's food stuck on his face. She then picks the breadcrumbs and Jirei says he didn't notice. Eve says he is like a child. However, Jirei denies it and says no one is as mature as him. He is not picky about food. He even drinks extremely bitter magic enhancers every day without fail. She then gigglingly says he's a child after all. Jirei says she got a laugh out of it, so it's better to look like that than to look bored, as she looks better like that. After hearing it, tears fall down her eyes, to which Jirei asks what's wrong and if she got dust in her eye. Eve replies it's okay, as she was just a little surprised. Jirei says in that case, it's fine. Eve says he is just like Rei. His actions and personality is exactly like him. Jirei feels like it's really him, because he don't remember anyone with such an expressionless face and light blue hair. After that, he asks what kind of guy Rei is, and if he's good looking like him. Eve replies she don't know as she has never seen him. But he is a really amazing person, more than anyone else, because he's kind and strong. He saved her, so he's an important person to her. Jirei says if he's such a great guy, then he must be a hero by now. However, Eve denies it and says that's not possible. Jirei asks why, to which Eve says because he's already dead. After that, Jirei asks if this is a gravestone, to which Eve replies that this is the hero Rei's gravestone. She then puts a flower bouquet on it. Jirei sadly says he can't offer any witty words of comfort, but he can just listen. Instead of having a hard time and keeping it to herself, it would be easier to let it out, because he did agree to spend the rest of the day with her, and this shocks Eve. She smiles and says the both of them are really alike, as that's how Rei used to act. Jirei narrates that then Eve shared her memories of her hero Rei, how he got mad when she didn't say he was cute, how she became interested in fashion. She talked about Rei's favorite magic tool, and so on. She says she is here because of him, as she would not be where she is today if it wasn't for Rei, because it's always been like that as she was gray. She further says Rei brought color to her world. He said it's okay to be alive, and that there are many colors in this world. He showed her colors of hope, fun, and joy that she didn't know existed. She loves Rei, and was too stupid to realize it until it was too late, as she was unable to confess to him. Therefore, when they meet again someday, she's going to tell him because she don't want to have any more regrets. Jirei says tell him what, or if it's because of the reversal of life and death using falsehood barrier. But that only works within a few days after death, to which Eve says it's not that. She is looking for Yggdrasil to bring Ray back to life and meet him again. Jirei explains that Yggdrasil is a legendary recovery magic that only appears in the fairy tale called the World Tree. While normal resurrection requires both that the soul remains intact and is within 10 days of death, but Yggdrasil doesn't have those kind of restrictions. In the first place, Yggdrasil is hard to use. The information is kept secret by the higher-ups of the White Magic Association. There's no way for a common magicians to learn about it. Eve says he might think there's no way, but she will definitely find it, even if it takes her years or decades. To this, Jirei says when he looked into it a few years ago, the White Mage Association had no information on it. He asks if she wants it even so. Eve replies she still can't give up, because it's the only hope she has. He says that he will let her know if he finds any info, and Eve thanks him. She then proposes to go home, and asks if he's going to walk her home, to which Jirei says of course. But suddenly, Aldi comes flying at them. He calls Eve and Jirei and says it's bad. The students that Jirei was in charge of are missing. Hearing that, he gets confused and says they are probably playing somewhere, but Aldi loudly replies they haven't been back to the dorms since yesterday. He adds that after going to support Jirei in the finals of the magic tournament, the guard he had with them is missing as well. He knows they are a bunch of troublemakers, but they've never broken curfew, and he can only assume they were involved in some kind of accident. Jirei thinks that there's a rumor that someone is targeting children and pulling out their hearts, but he don't want to believe it. Aldi says he is not sure if his detection magic is enough to find them, and requests Jirei as he's the only one he can count on. However, Jirei replies that he don't want to. He sighingly says in exchange, the Academy will compensate him, then he will do it, to which Aldi cryingly yells that he owes him. Moreover, Eve calls Jirei a liar and says he would help out even without it. Jirei feels shy and Eve asks how he's going to find them. After that, Jirei activates clairvoyance that shocks others. Eve asks how is he able to use it, and Jirei realizes that they don't know because he used it secretly the last time. He says that's strange, as he searched all of Magicosamea but could not find them. Being in a place that not even clairvoyance can find them, they are probably in another world. Aldi gets shocked, and Eve asks what they should do, to which Jirei says there's still a way, because somewhere in the city, there must be a distortion that leads to the other world. While a slight distortion would take too long to find using detection magic, it would still be faster than searching for the area in person. He then tells Aldi there's something he wants him to prepare. Aldi desperately asks what it is, as he will prepare anything, even ancient artifacts. Jirei explains that they inhabit Magicosamea rats. Somewhere in this world, a crazy lady calls this fun. She looks at a terrified boy and asks if he wants her help. She guesses she don't have a choice and wants to help him. Right then, she kills the boy with a machete saying it's her way of doing things. She then holds his heart on her hand and says that was fun, but still not enough. The children are senseless lying on the ground, and she says there's still much fun to be had. She asks if she ain't lucky and kneelingly thanks her Lord Gluttony. After that, they go somewhere and Eve asks if this is the place. Aldi says it's an empty house, and he don't feel any magic. However, Jirei says it's here, as this is where the distortion to the other world is located. He thinks that the Academy students went missing, and even with clairvoyance he could not find them. He asked for Aldi to gather rats for him, so he could perform magic on them. Therefore, by manipulating 1 million rats, he searched around. He managed to find the distortion that led to the other world. It was difficult and exhausting to do. He then points to a door and says there's no doubt about it. He tells them to take a look at the door. The door is slightly out of place, and Aldi thinks normally he would not notice something like this. Jirei says a rat was teleported to the other world. The moment it made contact, his vision suddenly changed to a dimly lit cave, as it's like a labyrinth-type other world. Aldi then excitedly wants to go, but Jirei stops him and tells him to wait. He says that he will go alone and tells Aldi to wait here. Aldi confusedly asks if it ain't better to go in as a team, because even if he's rotten, he is still the school's principal. Jirei tells Aldi that his magic is more support than combat, and he don't need help, as he already cast body strengthening on himself, so all he has to do is keep others away from the distortion. He warns Aldi to not follow him. However, Aldi still insists upon it, and Jirei calls him persistent. He wants to make this clear and calls Aldi a hindrance. Finally, Aldi sadly says he understands, as he asked for it. Jirei then says he will get going, and he don't want either of them to follow him. But Eve holds his cloak and says she's going too. Jirei asks if she didn't listen, to which Eve replies she can't let him go on his own, so she's definitely going. She promises she won't get in his way, because if she becomes a burden, he can abandon her. Hearing that, Jirei helplessly agrees and tells her to not leave his side. Aldi says then he will go too, but Jirei replies he can stay, as they still need someone to keep an eye around here. After that, both of them touch the door and vanish instantly. Jirei says this is another world, and Eve asks if that's black smoke. He says it's like a barrier. There's magic interference preventing magic on the outside from working inside the barrier, and he can't even command the rats in there. However, his vision link is still connected to them, so he knows what's ahead. He then says he will ask again. If she wants to go back, now is the time, because she still has the chance to turn back. Eve denies it and says she will go. Then Jirei destroyed the illusion and tells her to not regret it. After that, Eve sees the crazy boy and the dead children's lying on the ground. He says this is why he didn't want her to come. Seeing that much terror, Eve kneels down from disbelief, as she can't believe this kind of thing. Jirei thinks that the lump of flesh must the guard Aldi mentioned. The students, as rumored, had their hearts pulled out. Also, they were already in this state when the rats found them, so he was too late. He knows the crazy boy is the culprit, so he will use conceal magic, as he don't seem to have noticed them yet. Jirei then calls Eve and says the guard and students are already dead, so it's not something he can solve. Therefore, he will use resurrection, which shocks Eve. She asks if he can use it, to which he replies that he can, as long as their souls remain in this world, and they want to come back to life. He adds that their souls are still here, but due to how brutal their deaths were, their souls are on the verge of disappearing. To this, Eve asks what should she do then. Jirei replies he wants her to call out to them to keep their spirits alive. Meanwhile, he will deal with the source of all this. He is going to kill the crazy boy, so he tells Eve to keep calling out to the students and not leave, no matter what happens to him, and Eve replies she understands. After that, he cages her and the dead children's in a barrier. He wonders that the truth is that it's a lie that their souls are on the verge of disappearing, because even if they were left alone, their souls would remain for 3 days. But now Eve won't be able to leave Imperial Barrier, and won't get caught up in the fight. He then points his hand at the boy thinking he will have to get rid of him. He shoots a fireball to kill him, but the boy disappears. He somehow gets behind him, and says he wasn't as disheartened as he thought he would be. He asks Jirei what's up with him, as he was having fun, and he did this to him. The boy calls him an bastard and tells him to not come in here without permission, as he has decided to brutally kill him too. Jirei asks how he is alive, as his dead body is still there. He's sure he killed him. To this, the boy says it's all thanks to his dear lord, as he is as he should be. Jirei displays a confused reaction, and the boy further says that the event alteration seems a bit incomplete, but there's no way a lowly human like him would understand. He is from the same race as the trash who made fun of him and bullied him. He remembers the look on their faces when they died, as it was very funny. In reply, Jirei asks if he is talking about the victims of the serial killer, and why he killed the students, as they had nothing to do with him. The boy says it's not like he was aiming for them, as it was just a coincidence. They wore the same uniform and were about the same age as the trash who bullied him. Hearing that, Jirei casts a spell pointing at the boy and asks why did he do this. The boy mincingly laughs and says he was asked to summon the evil god, his dear lord Gluttony-sama, and suddenly Jirei's hand gets bitten by a shadow. The shadow eat half of his hand, and the shadow smilingly says she never thought they would meet again so soon. Seeing her, Jirei says she reveals herself. He didn't expect to see her again in a place like this. Eve then calls Jirei in worry and says she will use high heel, to which Jirei tells her to not come and stay there. However, she insists, but he asks if he didn't say no matter what happens, she should keep calling out the students. Eve replies she understands, and Jirei says besides, recovery magic won't work right now. To this, Enri asks how he figured that out. She calls him sharp. If he gets eaten by her predation, he won't be able to heal those injuries. Jirei replies that his body strengthening should be able to block most attacks, and asks what she did to him. Enri giggles and says the only thing that can prevent her predation is a hero or an authority. Moreover, there is something she wanted to ask if they meet again, as it was hard to tell because he was wearing weird glasses back then. She calls out his black eye, and the crazy boy rushes at Enri to look at the hearts he collected. He says that with this, he should be able to summon the evil god that she was talking about. Enri says she forgot all about that. She adds that she can do this thanks to him, to which the guy denies it and says she gave him the opportunity to get revenge, so she deserves this much. Enri thanks him for the help and holds him. She says he can die now, as she don't need him. Hearing that, the boy gets shocked and asks why, even though she said she needs him. Enri explains that she needed him at that time, but his role has already ended, therefore, she don't need him anymore. Afterward, the boy vanishes in thin air before he could do anything. Enri says now they can continue, to which Jirei asks if he was a friend of hers. She gets confused and says he was just another stranger who thought she was his master or something like that. He was still a boy, so no matter how much power he was given, he won't be able to suddenly kill people without hesitation. Jirei asks what did she do, to which Enri smirkly says that's right. She ate all his emotions other than murderous intent and vengeance. She amplified his murderous intent as well. If she didn't do that, he would not have been able to reason or anything, and asks if she's kind. She then says she's more interested in his black eyes, and Jirei tells her to shut up. She asks if he's angry at her, because it's shame that they can't talk. She's going to use these hearts to summon the evil god. She will let him go if he leaves now along with that girl. To this, Jirei says he is not going to run away. Enri asks if he's trying to save the kids too, and if they were important to him. She did something bad, and apologizes. But Jirei says no, not really, they aren't important. He had no choice but to teach them magic for a few days, and that's all there is to it. They are just a bunch of unimportant people who in a while will no longer be a part of his life. Enri tells him to go home then, however, he clenches his fist, and menacingly tells Enri she's pissing him off immensely. Enri replies that he is really mad at her, and asks if he's going to fight her, as she don't think he should, and asks again how he will fight her. After that, Jirei points his hand at her and says like this, but he gets shocked realizing that his magic power is not working. Seeing him, Enri asks if he finally realized, when she ate his left arm earlier, she also ate his internal magic and the magic nearby. His magic power was delicious and mellow like wine. Hence, she thanks him for the meal. She then snaps her finger to let him see that she ate with this, and only she was chosen as the gluttony demon lord, and can also use this authority predation. Looking at the shadow monster, Jirei asks what that is, and if the current demon lord hasn't been born yet, and also gluttony. Enri replies that she shouldn't have said all that, and tells him to not worry about it, as it's none of his business. She narrates that there are multiple demon lords: pride, envy, wrath, sloth, greed, gluttony, and lust. A demon lord has to defeat the other 6 demon lords and take their demonic marks to stand a chance against the heroes. In the end, humans only know about the demon lord that's left. She tells him to hurry up if he's going to do this. However, he can't do anything as his magic is gone. Therefore, she points at him and unleashes the Shadows monster at him. In response, Jirei instantly slashes the Shadows with a sword and says he don't think so. She shockingly tells him to wait a minute, and asks what's with the sword and how it can cut her predation. Because the moment anything touches her predation, it should disappear. He explains that he picked up this black sword in a certain place 2 years ago, and it makes him feel sluggish when he uses it. He has also tried to get rid of it, but it always comes back. He's also not able to destroy it, and he honestly didn't want to use it. Enri feels nervous and attacks him with more predation. However, Jirei easily slashes them. Seeing that, she tensely asks if that ain't strange because a sword that size should have been able to do that, to which Jirei says he used wind pressure. Enri says that's absolutely strange and asks if he's really human, because she don't see how he can block her predation. Suddenly, she realizes something and starts laughing like a maniac. She then says without authority, it's only natural, hence, she could not find it. She didn't think it would appear in a human, and not in a demon. He don't seem to know how to use it yet, but she can slowly teach him. Enri then points at him and says he is a sloth, which confuses him. She explains that she never thought a human could have a demonic rank. If it's sloth, then this explains his abnormal power. Therefore, she will let bygones be bygones. That's why she asks if he won't join her. But Jirei asks if she ain't just offering because she is about to lose, to which she nervously offers him to join her so that he can spend the rest of his life doing nothing but being lazy. She asks if that ain't a tempting proposition for him, because she will provide him with whatever he wants, like status, money, or woman. Jirei says that's certainly a tempting proposition, and Enri tells him to join her. However, Jirei slashes her saying it would be boring to work under her, hence, he will pass. After that, she disappears and he wonders if he did it. He says she said she ate it, but his internal magic and the magic nearby are returning slowly. There's no response from magic detection. He realizes all that's left to do is use resurrection on the kids, fix his arm, and then they will be all set. But suddenly, he feels an aura and slashes at that direction. He thinks that's Enri's predation, and wonders what does this mean, because she should have been completely annihilated. But he also feels her presence nearby. He then throws his sword to kill a predation, thinking it was close. However, a shadow stabs through his chest from behind. He falls down on the ground, and Eve panickingly uses high heal. She is confused why it's not working and hopes for Jirei to not die. Then all of a sudden, he coughs blood and does not respond, to which Eve screams from agony. She feels like another person died because of her. Back in time, Eve holds a baby and asks someone why it stopped moving. She calls her parents, but her mom slaps her and calls her a monster. She says she didn't do it. After that, in a jail, a guard tells her to not sleep and calls her number 15. The guard annoyedly says she is still alive and calls her a demon. He tells her to hurry up and die. He then calls her a waste and says her hair is ashy and unkempt, but she has a nice face, so he could sell her to a bad boy for a fortune. Yet he can't do that due to a blessing. He wished she could experience what it's like to be in his position. She narrates that 4 years ago, she was still gray and they called her demon. She sadly wonders what she is living for, because her body is under a curse called blessing. That won't let her die, rather, black magic generates when she gets hurt, and it inflicts the curse of death on those around her. Her parents rejected her as a monster and abandoned her. She got caught as a slave in an illegal arena by a man who sweet-talked her. Many times, she had her hopes betrayed, so she don't trust anyone anymore. She feels like she don't want anything, because the only thing she wishes for is death. But afterwards, the guard brings an armored guy and says starting today, he's going to be in the same cell with her. He asks if a cursed roommate would be a good fit for someone with that blessing. After seeing the guy, she wonders why he is wearing armor. The guy then calls Eve and asks if they got blankets or futons here, because the floor is dirty and hard. To this, Eve says nothing, and the guy replies it's not like he's not gonna be here forever, because he will be out soon. He then lies down to sleep, and Eve wonders who he is while looking at him. After that, he wakes up and says he slept well, and calls her. He asks if it ain't boring here, to which Eve says nothing. He then says he would hate it here if he was her, but it's nice as food comes here for free, and asks what the food is like here, but Eve tells him to not talk to her. The guy replies he won't talk to her anymore. Instead, he wants to ask her a question. He kneels down and asks if she has something she wants to do. If not, is there she's interested in something, like dream for the future or anything. By the way, his dream is to defeat the demon lord and become a king. He asks if it's a big dream or not, but Eve says she don't have one and hides her face. After that, the guy says he has decided that he don't like being a slave and tells her to get along, to which she asks what does he mean. And then the guy brings out a sword to slash the steel cage, and asks if it ain't obvious that he is going to destroy the arena. After that, on the corridor, the armored guy kills a guard, and a fat guy asks what he's doing. The armored guy replies all that's left is him. He asks the fat guy if it's him, the disgusting overseer of this arena who forces slaves to kill each other. The overseer asks what he wants. The guy replies nothing and says he just don't like the idea of slavery, that's all. To this, the overseer calls this a selfish reason. Then the armored guy asks if they weren't doing whatever they wanted to. Besides, slavery is a crime in this country. The overseer says even if he kills him, slavery won't end, as there are plenty of slave traders out there. He proposes they can work together to end slavery, but the armored guy rejects it. He slashes the overseer's head and says he will destroy everything on his own, so he don't need him. After that, he orders the child slaves to follow him, and they ask if he saved them, to which he tells them to not get him wrong, as he did all this for himself. He escorts the slaves and goes somewhere. A slave asks if it's a mansion. The armored guy replies that he wanted something more modest, but only this place met his conditions, so he apologizes and tells them to bear with it. After that, in the mansion, he tells the slaves that there's something he needs them to do. This place is dusty and dirty, so they are going to clean it up. Hearing that, the slaves gets confused. Eve narrates that for some reason they ended up living together in this mansion, and the first thing the armored man did was to teach them to write and read. They were given 3 meals a day. They weren't subjected to harsh treatment, given orders, or violence. The other slaves began to trust the armored man. He called them by you and hey, just like the slave traders, and he didn't tell them his name. She thinks he's no different than the bad people who approached her with kind faces. Then a few months passed and the armored man insisted on teaching magic to all slaves. Eve then checks her magic on a ball, and the man says she has affinity for recovery magic, which is rare, but he don't have that textbook. He adds that it's a pain, but he has to teach her himself, but the rest of them can read the textbooks. Therefore, she ended up studying while being envied by other slaves. After that, near a garden, the armored guy orders to practice heal today. He says normally he would like her to heal him after he cut his body, but he apologizes and as she will have to use her body. He then tells Eve to not worry because if she cut too deep, he will heal her. In response, Eve calls this meaningless and stabs her left hand, to which the guy asks what she's doing. Then suddenly, a black mist forms around her, and he asks what's with that magic. Eve realizes that he also thinks of her as a monster. However, the guy slaps the black mist and shockingly says it's sticky, which feels disgusting. Therefore, his action shocks Eve. He asks why she stabbed herself like that, and heals her hand. He asks what's wrong, to which Eve asks back if he can touch it. The guy replies he can touch it normally. Hearing that, she starts crying, and the guy asks what happened all of a sudden, if she's still hurt, and if he should use heal again. Eve narrates that usually, the moment someone touches her black magic power, it would have enveloped them, weakened them immediately, and killed them. Then the black magic power was supposed to heal her wounds, but it disappeared without healing her. This means her blessing has been nullified, and this person can do it. After that, in a room, the armored guy laughingly says it feels good. Meanwhile, Eve peeps on him and notices his red hair. Suddenly, the guy realizes someone is here, so he quickly wears his helmet and asks who is that. He then sees it's Eve and says he was surprised as he thought it was a cat, and asks what she wants as he's busy so they can talk later. He further says it's late at night, and tells her to not come here at this hour, and it's time for children to sleep. But Eve hesitantly says that she came here because she has a request. The armored guy says it's too much of a pain, and asks why does he has to hear her request. He also tells her to get out, but she still insists upon it, and the guy speaks nothing. He then says when he is finished with this, to which Eve asks what it is, and the guy asks if she's interested. He says this is the magic tool wind boots and asks if those aren't cool. In reply, Eve asks about magic tool. Then the guy explains that it's a magic tool one can wear on her feet, and when someone equips it, they can fly. Also, it requires a lot of maintenance, so it's not something that can be used frequently. However, after hearing all these, she thinks he's like a child. After that, the guy says he's done and asks what was it that she wanted to request. Eve requests the guy to kill her, to which the guy gets confused, and Eve anxiously says if it's him, her blessing doesn't work, so he can kill her. The guy confusedly asks why he has to kill her, and also, he don't know what blessing means. However, he remembers the stabbing incident and realizes it. He says because of the blessing, which is like a curse, she can't die and it harms people around her, so for some reason it doesn't work on him, and asks if she's asking to kill her then. In reply, Eve says that's why, to which the guy says he refuses. He says he don't see any benefit and he don't intend to do it, and asks if that's all, because if so, she should go back to her room and sleep, because he's going to sleep too. Eve says if he is looking for a benefit, then there is one. She strips herself unclothed and says he can do whatever he wants with this body. She says she will do anything if he kills her. In response, the armored guy comes towards her. He then picks up the shroud and throws at her and tells her to stop joking, get dressed quickly and leave. Eve says she's not joking, as he can do as he likes, but the guy tells her to not be ridiculous. He don't know what happened to her that made her think like that, but she should value herself more. Hearing that, Eve gets confused. The guy says yes, she don't have to die, because there's no need to dwell on the past forever. Maybe she only sees what's in front of her. But there's a lot in this world that she don't know. Delicious foods that make one's cheeks fall. The fantastic scenery that moves people. So he asks if she don't think it would be a waste to die without knowing these things. Eve says don't say things like he understands, to which the guy says he don't know the circumstances. But it's not like she's going to die. He further says he loves himself, and he is the most important person in the world, who don't care about anyone else. Therefore, he hates people like her who can't even love themselves. Eve yells that her sister died because of her blessing, to which the guy tells her to not mind, as she didn't have to say anything. He don't care about her past, or wants to hear about it. When she says that she is giving up on life because of her troubled past, he thinks she's running away, and that's an excuse. The guy then says anything is possible as long as she is alive. If she really don't like it, she can throw it all away. Not worry about the past and just think about the future, because in the end, doing what one wants is the most important thing for a human. But Eve says it's impossible, to which he says it's another excuse. She asks back what she should have done. The guy replies there's no way he would know, as her life isn't for him to decide, and he don't care if she lives or dies. He is just saying what he don't like about her. She wants to die and make him kill her. He is talking about her, who is relying on others. Hearing that, Eve yells what does he know about her? It's not like she wanted to die from the beginning. She has been abandoned by her family, and even though she asked for help, she got betrayed repeatedly, as they didn't need her. She just wanted to live a happy life like everyone else. The guy says he knew it. She really don't want to die. Eve replies that's not true as she shouldn't live, because everyone wants her to die. The guy asks if by everyone it includes someone important to her. If people don't care about her, she can say that, because it's only a matter of not letting it bother her. What's more important is what she wants to do, as she should do what she wants. The guy then asks if there is at least one thing she wants to do, to which Eve says no. Then she can just start searching for one, as there's plenty of time. Eve says because of her blessing, she might end up hurting someone again, and the guy asks if that's really such a big deal. If she hurts someone, she just has to heal the same amount. It's as simple as that. Fortunately, she has a strong affinity for recovery magic, so she has no choice but to use it, and asks if he's right. However, he tells her to not give up before trying. Even if her blessing is too strong for recovery magic to heal, there are many ways to handle it. By suppressing the blessing with a spirit contract, she could bring someone back to life with Yggdrasil. But he don't know if it exists. Eve asks if that's possible. He replies that a spirit contract is not simple. In the worst case scenario, she may die without being able to form a contract. She may need to make a contract with a spirit strong enough to suppress her blessing. In that case, she needs enough magical power to make a contract. It might be difficult to find a suitable spirit. Therefore, he asks her if she wants to do it, to which Eve nods affirmatively. After that, the guy says starting tomorrow, they will start practicing magic in earnest. He will make her drink a really bitter magic enhancer daily. However, Eve realizes something and asks if he's trying to sell them slaves, to which the guy says he never said anything like that. Eve says when he first helped them, he said he did this all for him. The guy replies that he did say that, but he don't have any intention of selling them, as they are not slaves anymore, so there's nothing to sell. Eve asks what about the collar, and the guy thinks about it. He then asks wouldn't it be a problem if they were suddenly released, because he would feel bad if they couldn't survive and ended up dying. He was thinking of taking off the collar after teaching them all the basics of living and education. As everyone seems to be young and uneducated, he can't just give them money and let go. He asks if it's about time now, hence, from tomorrow, he will take off everyone's collars, and they will be free to leave or stay here. If they don't like training, they can leave and he will give money as much as they need to do as they like. Hearing that, Eve asks why he would do that, and if he has a reason. The guy replies there's a reason, he just don't like people who are slave traders. Also, he might become a hero, in other words, it's for his self-satisfaction. Eve asks why did he wears armor all the time, and why he does not tell them his name. The guy startlingly says there's someone who he don't want to find him. She asks if he's on the run because he's wanted. The guy replies that's not it. However, Eve suspiciously stares at him, and he instantly says it's Ray. Eve then comments Ray, and Ray thinks this is fine. He asks about her, and says when she asks someone their name, it's common courtesy to introduce herself first. But Eve can't remember her name anymore and says she don't have one, to which Ray says that's a problem. He asks if she would like to give herself a name, and Eve nods yes. He asks how about Eve, which shocks her. He says if she comes up with another name if she likes, she can use that one instead. She asks why Eve, to which Ray says it has a nice ring to it, and it's a common name. If she don't like it, she can think of one for herself. However, it's getting late and because of her, he lost his precious idle time. He then pushes her out of the room and says that he is going to bed now so she can go back to her room. Moreover, they will do a lot of training starting from tomorrow, so he tells her to get some sleep. After that in her bed, she says she is Eve and happily goes to sleep. The next day, Ray destroys their collars and tells them to do as they please. Eve narrates that the armored man, Ray did just as he promised last night, as he took their collars off, healed burns and injuries, and freed everyone. The slaves become very happy with this, and Ray asks why anyone is not leaving. Eve narrates that in the end, everyone chose to stay and grew closer to Ray. She was taught more recovery magic, in order to be able to perform a spirit contract. Ray's guidance was strict and harsh. There were times when she felt like crying, and yet, it wasn't hard, rather she was happy. He did a lot for her, and the only one who stayed by her side. And today is the first day that she practiced using recovery magic on targets other than herself. However, there's tension among the students. Ray yawns and apologizes for being late and wants to start now. After that, a boy calls Ray and asks why does he favor Eve the most, as he focuses all his time on her. Ray asks what he is talking about, as he is not favoring anyone. The boy replies that she's a demon and cursed. Ray says they are too scared. It's not a curse, rather a blessing, and it won't kill them just by getting close to her. He then holds Eve's face and tells them to take a look. He squeezes her face and proves that he is not dead. Her blessing does not activate unless she's harmed, like getting punched or kicked, so as long as she lives a normal life, there should not be a problem. In other words, they are worrying too much. After that, Ray asks if they are planning on kicking and punching her, doing the same things they did to them when they were slaves. Hearing that, the boy apologizes to Eve and asks if she can forgive him. He adds that he was about to do the same thing as those guys, so he's the worst, and again apologizes. The other students also apologizes to Eve for avoiding her up until now. Ray then coughs and asks everyone if they would accompany Eve to help her on recovery magic. After that, she heals the boy, and Ray says there doesn't seem to be any issues using it on others. Meanwhile, Eve wonders it is since Ray touched her earlier, her heart is pounding. Ray calls Eve and asks if she's listening. He leans in close to her and says her face is all red, and asks if she caught a cold. To this, Eve turns away from shyness and replies probably. Therefore, he says it can't be helped and ends the lesson. He tells everyone to go back and thanks them. He then dashes away happily, saying he will be lazy today. On the other hand, Eve checks her heartbeat and wonders if she really has a cold. Because she wanted to do more, when she thinks about Ray, her heart can't stop pounding and she finds it strange. Since then, everyone has started to talk to her. Through training with Ray, she became able to use simple recovery magic like minor regeneration and heal. Ray said that if things continue like this, within a few years, she will have enough magical power for a spirit contract. She thinks those were tough but enjoyable days. After that, a girl calls Eve and tells her to look in the mirror. Eve wears a new dress, and the girl calls it cute. She says it's fun working with high-quality materials, and teacher will love this too. She then shows her another dress, and in reply, Eve calls her Tiz and says she's fine with this. However, Tiz denies it and says she went to the trouble of setting things up today, as she and Ray will go shopping today, so she needs to look her best. Moreover, she never expected this from her. She tells Eve it's true that she has been watching Ray all the time, so she will cheer her on. Eve narrates that ever since she talked with Tiz about her cold, it's been like this. She wonders if she looks cute. She wonders if Ray will think so. Ray then knocks on the door and asks if they are almost done. After that, Tiz displays Eve to Ray asking if she's cute, and if she's ain't so cute that he might fall in love. However, this confuses Ray, and he says that's fine feathers make a fine bird. He adds that anyone can look great if they dress well. Eve angrily tells Tiz to take it off, and Tiz tells Ray that this is the part where he says she looks cute even if he's joking. She tells him to look at Eve's face, as it's wrinkly and angry, but Eve replies she's not angry. Seeing all this, Ray says that he don't get it. If she's ready, then they can go. He will wait outside and gets out of the room. After that, on the outside, Ray asks why she's wearing her usual clothes, to which Eve says because it's easier to move. Ray giggles and says usually shopping would be a pain, so he would normally leave it to someone else, but today is different, because he can buy magic tools with a discount ticket. Eve remembers that Tiz said she won the discount ticket in a prize drawing at the market when she was shopping. Hence, after seeing Ray pumped up, she asks if that's fun, to which Ray says it's really fun, and since she seems interested, he will give her a gift. Eve then holds the tool, and Ray explains that it's a simple magic tool for practicing magic manipulation. It glows in 7 colors when it's filled with magical power. He tells her to give it a try. In response, Eve grabs the tool and asks if it's like this, to which Ray says that's a bit off. She should infuse her magical power more inward. He then holds it and it starts glowing. He asks if she got it, and Eve shyly replies yes. After that, she calls Ray and asks if there ain't someone who he can talk to about magic tools. Ray says she's right. In the first place, he is so high level that there aren't many people who can have a conversation on the same level. Eve wonders if Ray will be happy if she can talk about magic tools. After all this, Ray says he is done shopping and wants to go home, as he can't wait to tinker with them. He is happily walking on the road and Eve thinks he bought a lot and he's like a child. However, the tools falls off from the box and Ray screams panickingly. He says he should have used item box and tells Eve to not just look at him. Seeing that, she starts laughing, and Ray asks why she's laughing. It's better than seeing her usual dull face. Her face isn't bad, so she should make expressions like that more often. Eve says it's none of his business. Suddenly, she realizes as he said her face isn't bad. Therefore, she asks Ray if he likes her face. Ray quickly replies that he's not interested. Eve then angrily looks at him and thinks that Ray is a very peculiar person. Moreover, now that she thinks about it, she knows nothing about Ray, as even when she asked, he would evade the question. If he would open up, they were closer. Hence, she hopes for days like these to last forever. After that, a raindrop falls on her head and she looks up. However, there's a huge dragon up in the sky, and she scaredly asks what is that. She asks if it's a dragon and why it's here. Rei says not only the dragon, there's also large number of monsters appearing. It's strange that the town's protective barrier hasn't activated. After that, a knight tells everyone to follow the instructions and evacuate. Seeing this, Rei says it looks like they will be able to avoid major damage, as the knights are on the move. However, he sees that the dragon doesn't have a single scratch, so it looks like they are waiting to see what happens. But he wonders what if the dragon decides to attack. So he tells Eve to go back home immediately, as it's safer there since it has powerful concealment and magic barrier, and Eve agrees to it. However, Eve calls Rei and says that's not the way home, to which Rei says he will go back later and tells her to go ahead. Eve tensely asks if he will come back. Rei replies he forgot something and tells her to not worry, as he will be back soon. Eve tells him to come back soon and starts running. However, she suddenly stops and wonders what is this uneasiness she is feeling, because Rei never said he wouldn't fight, as he is fighting against the dragon alone. After that, the dragon bites his left arm, and Rei uses it as a bomb against the dragon. Meanwhile, on the surface, people ask who he is and if he can match a dragon, because he's just like a hero. Eve realizes that Rei is worn out and wonders if he didn't value himself the most, and why he is fighting so hard to protect this town. He then stabs the defeated dragon's neck and pantingly says finally, and Eve calls him in worry. Suddenly, some loud screeches cover the area and they look up in the sky. In response to more dragons, Rei smiles and says 2 more and calls this a pain in the back. However, a knight tells Rei to wait, as it's better to abandon the town and evacuate. He needs a white mage to heal his injuries. But Rei says this is a perfect opportunity and tells him to not get in the way. He will decide whether it's impossible or not. To this, the knight asks how in that condition. Rei replies that he is a man who will become a hero. He has a dream to become a hero, defeat the demon lord and become a king. But no matter how strong he becomes, he can't become a hero unless the holy mark appears, so he wonders what he should do then. He smilingly says that to become a hero, he has to be a hero, be stronger than anyone else, and help others. He then activates his wind boots, and says that he wishes he could be the ideal hero of fairy tales that everyone imagines. So that's why there's no way he can just run away. Eve narrates that he's already more heroic than anyone else. He looked like a hero saving people from evil. After that, he defeated the other dragons, to which a guy asks if it's a lie, and he won against the dragons by himself. Eve runs at him and suddenly falls on the ground. As the black mist forms around her, she asks what is this. She gets confused that this is her blessing, but she wasn't injured. However, she remembers Rei telling her that the power of blessings are not absolute, and it is common for blessings to weaken or disappear. And there are usually signs like hearing the voice of a spirit in a dream or feeling as if something is slipping out. He wouldn't be surprised if her near-immortal blessing could disappear any moment. It's just a coincidence that she is alive right now. After that, Eve's blessing gets inside a dead dragon. Suddenly, the dragon opens its eyes and casts a fireball at Eve. However, out of the blue, Rei comes in front of her to protect, took all the damage, and falls on the ground. The dragon also loses energy and falls down. Eve asks Rei why he protected her, as he said he didn't care about her, to which Rei says she suffered and it's his fault. Eve calls for someone to help Rei, but the mage is confused as the recovery magic doesn't work. Eve desperately requests Rei to not die, because she haven't finished the training he told her to do yet. She narrates that from that day, he never woke up again. After that, in her room, Tiz tells her that she needs to eat properly and everyone is worried too. But she says that she thinks teacher was a little cold towards them. Maybe it was to make them independent and not rely on him. Tiz then tells Eve that she knows she loved Rei, but he's not here anymore. Eve looks back and asks loved, to which Tiz startledly asks if she didn't notice. Eve realizes that she's right, as she actually loved Rei, and Tiz consolingly hugs her. After that, Eve says that today was the entrance ceremony for the Magic Academy. When they measured her magical power, she had the highest. This is all thanks to Rei. A year has passed since Rei fell asleep, and this is his gravestone. The Hero Birthday Festival will start soon. It's a festival in honor of Rei. Everyone will dress up with red hair just like him. And this is a ticket to the Ancient Artifact show. The odds were low, but she applied and she won. She adds that she can't go this year, she hasn't found it yet. But it's okay, she is sure that someday, she will bring him back to life with the power of Yggdrasil that he mentioned. Then she desperately tried to find Yggdrasil. At the age of 14, she skipped grades and graduated as the top-ranked student at the Magic Academy. She was recognized for her proficiency in recovery magic and her achievements at the academy. She was adopted by the Durkees family, who were researching water spirits and saints. At that time, the power of her blessing weakened due to the black magic that left. She wanted to become stronger in order to find Yggdrasil, so she made a contract with a water spirit. Her gray hair turned blue and her eyes turned light blue. As a result, she couldn't make facial expressions properly unless she felt strong emotions. She read a large amount of books that belonged to the White Mage Association. She joined the party of the hero, Ray, to try to find information, but in the end she couldn't find it. Even the information about resurrection was kept secret and she can't obtain it. In the past 4 years, there hasn't been a single day that she has forgotten about Ray, but in the midst of all that, she met Jirei. She hated him for being stronger than Ray, and most of all, he resembled Ray. When they talked, it felt like she was talking to Ray. She dressed him in armor that looked just like the one Ray was wearing and ended up going along with him for her self-satisfaction. She is the worst. He is not Ray. When the students disappeared, he tried to rust into the other world by himself, just like Ray on that day when he lied and went to fight alone. And in the end, it happened again. Nothing has changed since then. It's her fault. If only she didn't follow him, she is sorry. Suddenly, Jirei starts coughing and asks where is he, what is he doing, to which Eve gets shocked. Jirei says that if he remember correctly, he was fighting Enri, and wonders if he did Enri disappear? There's no sign. He then picks up a coin asking why is it in a place like this? He guesses it doesn't matter. Eve shockingly asks why is he alive, but Jirei says his bad, he forgot to say that. He can come back to life even if he die. Don't worry. He is not a ghost or anything. He adds that to be more precise, he casts magic that allows him to come back to life just once if he die. So if he die now, he won't be able to come back to life. He will have to cast it again. It's so complicated that he has to concentrate for several days while fasting to perform it. And it is so bothersome. Eve yells that she has never heard of such magic, to which he says that it is magic that he created. He explains that dimensional resurrection. It is based on the automatic recovery of minor regeneration, and the technique of dimension bestowal that manipulates time and space. It uses either the body after death of the soul left in this world. If the body is healthy before death, it's like rewinding time. But this magic has its drawbacks. Recovery magic no longer works. Furthermore, after being revived, memories prior to his death may disappear. If the damage was too severe when he died, there's quite a delay before it's activated. Sometimes his body teleports to a completely different, faraway area. And this is good thing that he remember properly this time. Hearing that, Eve gets shocked and asks if he is saying that he has died a lot of times before. Jirei says that he hasn't died recently, but he is sure he has died before. He thinks it was when he fought against a dragon. Eve asks where, and when did that happen, to which he replies that he think it was 4 years ago when he was being chased by Aldi, in Magicosmia maybe, which shocks her. The last thing he remembers is that after he defeated one dragon, 2 more dragons appeared, and he don't remember what happened after that. The body was certainly supposed to have been buried. She asks if he were wearing armor, to which he says that he is sure he was wearing it. She asks if he met a girl with gray hair, to which he replies that yes, there was someone like that. He used to make her drink magic enhancers and train her. She didn't have a name, so he just gave her one. She probably wouldn't want a randomly chosen name, so she probably changed it. Then suddenly, he realizes that how does she know? On the other hand, Eve starts crying that he was alive, and hugs him. He asks what's wrong, and why all of a sudden. She thinks that back then, she realized it too late, she couldn't tell him. But the next time she meet him, she definitely wanted to convey these feelings. So now, she will say it, to which he asks what does that mean. Eve says that she loves him. He is blunt and foul-mouthed man who saved her, but he is also kind, so she loves him so much. She gets very happy that finally, she was able to say it.